I will go ahead and call to order the 1630th regular meeting of the Thornton City Council. And before I begin, just like to remind everyone in the audience to please turn off or silence all electronic devices. The audience seating area is provided for observing council meetings from a seated position only. Audience members wishing to stand must stand in the aisle along the rear wall opposite of the council dais. Also, if there's anyone in the audience who needs assistance in listening to and or participating in the meeting and has not indicated so on the sign-up sheet, you can raise your hand and a staff member will provide assistance. Item 2 tonight is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3 is a moment of silence. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Item 4 is the land acknowledgement. Councilmember Algie, would you please read the land acknowledgement this evening?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The City of Thornton respectfully acknowledges the land on which we stand is the traditional territory of the Apache, Arapaho, Cheyenne, Comanche, Kiowa, Lakota, Navajo, Pueblo, Shoshone, and Southern Ute tribes and nations who were the original stewards of this land. We honor the history, culture, and contributions, both past and present, of these indigenous nations and tribes. We pay respect to their ancestors, elders, and present-day community members, and extend our gratitude to the indigenous peoples for their ongoing care and stewardship of the land, water, and resources. We also recognize the lasting impact of colonialism, forced removals, and continued injustices that have affected indigenous communities throughout history and into the present. We also acknowledge the labor of enslaved Africans and their descendants who worked this stolen land for the colonists and who continue to disproportionately face economic oppression, racism, violence, and exploitation. May this acknowledgement serve as a reminder of our responsibility to be mindful and respectful of the land, its history, and the indigenous communities who call Colorado home, and to use it to guide our policies and decision-making for the people of Thornton.
Thank you. Item 5 is a roll call of council. Would you please call a roll of council?
Mayor Coleman.
Here.
Councilmember Acunto.
Here.
Councilmember Algie.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala.
Here.
Councilmember Byrd.
Here.
Councilmember Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Morris.
Here.
Councilmember Russell.
Here.
Councilmember Salazar. Here. Quorum is present, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 6 is approval of the agenda. Are there any staff changes to the agenda this evening?
There are no proposed changes. Thank you.
Council, are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda as presented has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Clerk, please poll the council.
Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 7 is presentations. Item 7A is a resolution recognizing May 8th, 2026 as Early Care and Education Provider Appreciation Day in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Councilmember Salazar, would you please introduce this item and read it in its entirety?
I would like a resolution, recognizing May 8th as Early Care and Education Provider Appreciation Day in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Whereas the Early Childhood Partnership of Adams County and organizations nationwide are recognizing early care and education providers on May 8th, 2026. And whereas the early care and education system supports children's growth, development, and educational advancement while creating positive economic impacts for families and communities. And whereas early care and education providers are essential to the health of our communities by fostering safe and welcoming spaces, supporting working families, and creating enriching environments where children develop lifelong skills. And whereas early care and education provides work in various settings, including centers, family childcare homes, and preschools, offering families a choice in the type of care that works best for them and their child. And whereas the city of Thornton recognizes that early care and education has been and continues to be a lifeline for families, communities, and the economy. As such, it has provided much needed support to providers to help sustain the viability of early care and education. And whereas support for affordable accessible, high-quality early care and education represents a worthy commitment to help families work, support children's healthy development and learning, and keeping our economy growing. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Thornton as follows, that May 8th be declared as Early Care and Educational Provider Appreciation Day in the City of Thornton.
Second.
I'm assuming you move for its approval, Councilmember Salazar?
Yes.
And it was seconded. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Salazar, you have the option to go first as you made the motion.
Yes. Hold on. I would like to say that as a childcare provider of 25 years, I understand what it's like to be in this field, and it is important that we recognize you and we appreciate everything that all the providers go through. Thank you.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yeah, just to add to that, I'm a parent of 2 young children, and I have spent many years sending my kids to early childhood education providers, and I'm eternally grateful for all the services they've provided and how hard they work. I've seen some of the classrooms, and I just am amazed at how they're able to get 24-year-olds to take a nap all at the same time when I can barely get my own 4-year-old to take a nap. And to add to that, they are not paid what nearly the amount of what their work adds value to. And I'd love to see someday a future where the child care providers are paid appropriately. And, I know that's going to take a lot of work at the national, state, and local government. But I'm grateful that we're at the very least acknowledging and recognizing all the hard work that they put in and how that they literally keep our society working by helping raise our children while we go out and work to take care of our families. So to all who are out there, early childhood education providers, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I would not be here without you. And I hope someday that we can really make progress at taking care of these folks as best we can.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to specifically thank the early childhood care providers that we have in the city of Thornton that work in our rec centers. When my son was little, before he went to preschool in Adams 12, he attended one of the programs in the Thornton Community Center because it was close to my mom's house, and I thought it was a good opportunity to get him into some structured learning environment before I decided to put him into preschool and kindergarten. And the stress of that for a young child can be a bit much, but it was great to have folks in the city of Thornton that were providing that child care and those preschool programs to him even way back when. Now he's 21 years old, but I still see a lot of the workers that worked in that program in working in our city in different capacities, and I just want to thank them for being one of the child care providers in our city. And I hope that folks have the opportunity to look into that program as well, because it's a great addition to our city. Thank you.
Any additional discussion? I'll add my comments as well. As a working parent, that one of the things we always worry about is making sure that when we go to work that our kids are taken care of by people that we trust. So this is one of those fields that is so important for all of us to be able to move through our other obligations in life. And I could not do what I do without the people that helped me make sure that my kids were taken care of and well cared for and loved in the moments that I could not be there with them. So I just want to say thank you as well. Would you please poll the council?
Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. And I believe we have some representatives from Early Childhood Partnership here this evening. I'd like to invite you up front with us. We're going to ask council to come down and take a picture, and I'll give you a copy of the resolution. Would you like to say a few words first?
Now it's on. Before I get started, we actually have some early care and education providers here today who work here in Thornton in a variety of different settings in some of our school districts, in some of our centers, and some of our family child care homes, as well as one of our licensors who helps make sure that our programs are meeting those health and safety standards. So I'd like them to stand up and be recognized. And they'll come down and take a picture with us as well. So on behalf of the Early Childhood Partnership of Adams County, I want to thank you for recognizing May 8th as Early Care and Education Provider Appreciation Day. As you noted, these professionals work in various settings, including licensed family child care homes and centers, providing essential services so families can work or go to school towards their own economic security. In addition to the need for childcare for families, we know that children who attend early care and education programs are engaged in activities and are building relationships with other children and adults that will build the foundation for their future success and to help them be contributing members of our society. To all of you here in the audience, I want to say that the businesses in our community rely on working parents, and therefore each and every one of us relies on childcare being available and affordable. Unfortunately, as a nation, a state, a county, and a city, the availability of affordable childcare is considered to be in a crisis state. And sadly, this crisis is only worsening. In 2025, almost twice as many childcare programs closed than in 2024 or 2023, with burnout and economic pressures cited as the top reasons. Adams County is one of the 2 counties with the highest closure rates last year. As a result of this and other factors, our capacity to ensure that the infants who live in our county can be cared for in a licensed child care program decreased to only 8.5% of our infants. We lost 50 infant slots last year. Our toddlers here in Adams County can only 18.6% of our toddlers can be cared for in a licensed program. We lost 55 slots for toddlers last year. And even with universal preschool, we can only provide preschool for 71% of the 3 and 4-year-olds in Adams County, and we lost 132 slots last year. These are the lowest capacity numbers in the entire metro area, meaning that the families who live here are scrambling to figure out childcare. They're often having to go out of the county for care, and sometimes they're making hard decisions about whether or not they can even return to work. What may be contributing to this lack of capacity is that over the last 5 years, other industries such as fast food and retail have increased their wages by 5 to 9%, while early care and education provider wages have only increased by 3%, and these wages are in the bottom 5% for all occupations. However, these providers come to work with love and passion for the work they do every day. Despite the challenges noted here, they recognize the importance of their job on the development of children and the economic stability of families and our community. They provide safe, nurturing, and educationally enriched environments for our youngest citizens. And because of that, we not only want to recognize them and appreciate them on May 8th, but for every day they work. Finally, I would like to thank you for being a part of the solutions that are needed to address the childcare crisis. Just in the last few months, Tansy Hayward has joined a collaboration that we are working to see how we can better support the childcare industry, and I appreciate that collaboration. Thank you.
So I'm going to ask council to join us up front and bring all of you down to take a picture with all of council and give you a copy of the resolution.
Yeah. Barely.
All right, item 7B is a resolution declaring May 2026 as Jewish Heritage Month in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Councilmember Algie, would you please introduce this item and read it in its entirety?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to introduce a resolution declaring May 2026 as Jewish Heritage Month in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Whereas in 2006, the first Jewish Heritage Month was celebrated when it was proclaimed by President George W. Bush to recognize the more than 350-year history of Jewish contributions to American culture. And whereas America's cultural diversity has helped strengthen and define our country for hundreds of years. And whereas the American Jewish community dates back to 1654, when a group of 23 Jews fleeing persecution at the hand of the Portuguese Inquisition fled Brazil and found refuge in New Amsterdam, now New York. From that tiny group, the American Jewish community has grown to over 7 million, representing over 2% of the American population today. And whereas over the past 370 years, Jewish Americans have given to their communities and the nation as loyal and patriotic citizens, and whereas Jewish Americans have served in government and the military, won Nobel Prizes, headed universities and corporations, advanced medicine, created and performed in enduring works of performing and visual art, written great American novels, become emblems of justice as members of the Supreme Court, and more. And whereas American Jews have always pushed America to live up to its promise as a nation that upholds freedom and justice for all, and whereas American Jews are feeling vulnerable amidst a rise in anti-Semitism, and whereas Jewish Americans believe anti-Semitism is a problem in the United States, and 4 in 10 American Jews change their behavior in at least one way out of fear of anti-Semitism, and whereas the strength of a society can be measured by how they protect minority populations and celebrate their contributions. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Thornton, Colorado as follows, that May 2026 is hereby declared Jewish Heritage Month in the City of Thornton, Colorado, and I recommend its approval.
Second.
Thank you. The resolution has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Algie, I'll let you have the floor first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I am happy that the city is honoring our Jewish Americans this evening. I am not of the faith, but I have many elected official friends, past and present, who I deeply care about, and that's why I offered to read this resolution tonight. I'm friends with quite a few of them: Michael Bennett, Phil Weiser, Jenna Griswold, Lori Goldstein, Mike Weissman, Daphne Michelson-Janae, Emma Pinter, and Karen Bigelow, who was the previous mayor pro tem on our council. So once again, I read this not only for the Jewish population as a whole, but also to my very close friends who I just mentioned. I love and care about you all very much, and thank you again.
Any additional discussion? And I'll thank you for reading this one as well, Councilmember. I am a part of a group called the Mayors United Against Anti-Semitism, and it's an organization that was put together several years ago to give us some talking points on how to work in our community, to share ideas across the nation of how we're dealing with anti-Semitism, and trying to figure out how do we build each other up and build bridges instead of tearing people down. It's an incredible group that I'm honored to be part of, and we share a lot of great information that I get to bring back to the council. So again, thank you for reading this one tonight. Would you please poll the council?
Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 7C is a resolution declaring May 2026 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Councilmember Morris, would you please introduce this item and read it in its entirety?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to introduce a resolution declaring May 2026 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month originated in a congressional bill in June of 1977. On March 28, 1979, President Carter issued Presidential Proclamation 4650, proclaiming the week beginning on May 4th, 1979 as Asian Pacific American Heritage Week. In 1992, Congress passed PI 102-450, which permanently designated May as Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. And in 2009, Asian Pacific American Heritage Month was officially changed to Asian American and Pacific Islander Month. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander community members have been disproportionately impacted by incidences of hate and discrimination during the COVID-19 pandemic, and in turn, disproportionately impacting our Asian American and Pacific Islander youth. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islanders comprise many ethnicities and languages, and their many achievements embody the American experience. And by recognizing the contributions and accomplishments of Asian American and Pacific Islander men and women, we celebrate the importance of inclusion and building a brighter future. And whereas the Federal Asian Pacific American Council, FAPAC, has announced this year's theme as Power in Unity, Strengthening Communities Together, highlighting the community's history and contributions. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander men and women are leaders in all aspects of American life, government and industry, science and medicine, the arts and armed forces, and education and sports. And whereas the City of Thornton community has benefited through the cultural richness, diversity, and generosity of its local Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Thornton, Colorado, as follows. That City Council declares May 2026 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the city and recognizes Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders' contributions and celebrates their achievements, and further calls upon the citizens of Thornton to learn more about the history of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders and their many contributions to our nation and our local community. And I move for its approval.
Second.
Thank you. The motion has been made to approve the resolution and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Morris, you have the option to go first as you made the motion.
I'm very happy to see this resolution come forward from the council. I appreciate bringing it forward. This one is personal for me. I come from a multicultural family, and my mom's side, we come from a Pacific Islander heritage. So I'm glad to see this, and a lot of my family has served in all kind of aspects of education, law enforcement, and armed forces as well. So they've contributed quite a bit to our country, and so I'm grateful to see this, and I'm thankful for other Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders in our city. Thank you.
Any additional discussion? I'll just say thank you for bringing this one forward and reading it for us tonight. Would you please poll the council?
Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 7D is a resolution declaring May 2026 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Mayor Pro Tem Ayala, would you please introduce this item and read it in its entirety?
Yes, I'd like to introduce a resolution declaring May 2026 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the city of Thornton, Colorado, whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and whereas all people experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, and whereas prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, and whereas there is a strong body of research that supports specific tools and all people can use to better handle challenges and protect their health and well-being, and whereas mental health conditions are real and prevalent in our nation, and whereas the early and effective treatment those individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full productive lives, and whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizens share the burden of mental health problems and has a responsibility to promote mental health, mental wellness, and support prevention and treatment efforts. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the City Council of the City of Thornton, Colorado as follows. The City Council hereby declares May 2026 as Mental Health Awareness Month and calls upon its citizens, governments, agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, schools in Thornton to commit the community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps the citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions, and I move for its approval.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution. I'll open it for discussion. Mayor Pro Tem, you have the option to go first as you made the motion.
Yeah, there was just one specific thing I'd like to kind of focus on tonight. I think there's a lot of different facets to mental health that are important to look at, but for the sake of time, I'll just kind of concentrate on one. Having worked with teenagers for a while, I've noticed that mental health conditions specifically get more and more prevalent when kids are not really given the real world connection and support they need and spend a lot of their time around screens, specifically around social media. And so I just kind of wanted to put it out there to watch out for our young people and what they're kind of absorbing through social media and screen time. I work with many teenagers on a daily basis, and I've seen firsthand what this can lead to, specifically when it comes to body image issues and the inability to be more social with their peers, and just spending a lot of time in the house, kind of getting immersed into the social media realm. And it does cause a lot of prevalent mental health issues for our young people. And to that point, I also wanted to thank co-responders tonight, because with my day job, I do have to work with the Westminster PD and the co-responders sometimes on a daily basis, unfortunately, when we have mental health crises at our school. And it's been amazing to work with our police and co-responders when we have a mental health crisis. And they've done nothing but just kind of provide the best care possible for our students when they're needing to go somewhere to take care of their mental health needs, or if they're having an incident in our school. So I just wanted to kind of put it out there that I appreciate the work that co-responders do to support our first responders, police, firefighters, and the support they give to our youth, but specifically anybody who's suffering from a mental health crisis and needs a first responder to come. The co-responders are amazing people to work with, to help and just kind of know what's really going on, and help folks get to the right care they need. So thank you.
Councilmember Algie?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, for introducing the resolution tonight. Of course, 2 weeks ago for Autism Acceptance Month, I spoke in depth about, my birth families and my mental health issues in varying degrees. And also, Madam Mayor Pro Tem mentioned the co-responders. I'll mention more of this in my council comments, but last week I had the honor of meeting Donut, which is Thornton PD's newest canine, and Donut would be a therapy dog. And when Donut's training is completed, he will be deployed for anybody that's in mental health crisis to help alleviate that situation and to help those folks that are in need. So thank you.
Any additional discussion? I'll just add a few things here as well. Mental health is one of those things that is really hard to see. It's something that a lot of people hide and don't talk about. And I am actually one of those. I suffer from severe anxiety, which would be ironic given the position that I've put myself in here. It took me years to recognize and to ask for help. And part of being able to talk about mental health is making sure it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach out. It's okay to talk about it. And it's something I think we all could do better with, and also understand that our neighbors might be going through something that maybe we can't see and understand. So thank you for reading this one, Mayor Pro Tem. Would you please poll the council?
Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 7E is a resolution declaring the week of May 11th through May 17th, 2026 as National Police Week in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Councilmember Kunto, would you please introduce this item and read it in its entirety?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce a resolution declaring May 11th through the 17th, 2026 as National Police Week in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Whereas Congress of the United States and the President have designated the week of May 11th through May 17th, 2026 as National Police Week in recognition of law enforcement officers who have given their lives in the line of duty and those who continue to serve with courage and dedication. And whereas National Police Week provides an opportunity for the community to express gratitude and appreciation for the dedicated service, professionalism, and sacrifice of all law enforcement personnel and their families. And whereas the thin blue line flag symbolizes support for law enforcement, solidarity, and honoring of fallen officers. And whereas the city of Thornton is served by a highly trained and committed law enforcement officers who work diligently to safeguard life, property, and the constitutional rights of all residents, whereas these officers face significant risks and challenges in the performance of their duties and routinely place themselves in harm's way to ensure the safety and well-being of the community, and whereas it is important to honor and remember those officers who had made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty, and to recognize the families, friends, and colleagues who continue to carry their legacy. And whereas fostering strong partnerships between law enforcement and the community enhances public safety and promotes mutual trust and respect. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Thornton, Colorado as follows. May 11th through May 17th, 2026, is hereby declared as National Police Week in the city of Thornton. The thin blue line flag will be flown within the city during National Police Week, and community members are encouraged to recognize this week by honoring law enforcement officers, past and present, and expressing appreciation for the service and commitment to protecting the community. And I move for its immediate approval.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution. I'll open it for discussion. Councilmember Acunto, you have the option to go first as you made the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I very much support this resolution, and I appreciate council allowing me to bring it forward. The thin blue line flag is widely recognized as a phrase and symbol in law enforcement that refers to police officers as a thin, fragile barrier standing between civilized society and chaos, anarchy, violence, and criminal disorder. The color blue derives from the traditional color of police uniforms in the United States and elsewhere, symbolizing respect of officers who daily risk their lives to maintain that boundary. National Police Week is not as symbolic in a casual sense. It is nationally recognized observance established in 1962 that centers on remembrance. It honors officers who are killed in the line of duty and recognizes those who continue to serve under difficult and dangerous conditions. Here in Thornton, our officers take that responsibility every day. They respond to violent calls, protect victims, and make decisions in rapidly evolving situations where the margin of error is small, often a fraction of a second. The risk is real, and so is the impact on the families. And as a nearly 20-year police officer serving my community, I appreciate everybody's support in this resolution.
Councilmember Byrd.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, David, for bringing this forward. I would like to say that, I'm a massive supporter of our PD, and I applaud that every day you get up, you put your shield on, and you put your life on the line for everybody that's in this room and everyone in our city. So thank you for all that you do. I fly the thin blue flag line on my truck every day, and I believe that you guys are the backbone of our city and the protector of everything that we need. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala.
Thank you. If people have known me long enough, they know I've had mixed feelings about the police over the years, but as I've grown as a council member and also somebody who's actually taken the time to learn a little bit more about policing and what the job looks like, and took some time with Thornton PD to learn a little bit more about what it's like to be a police officer in the city of Thornton, and kind of like the massive growth we've had and the different challenges we have in our city. And then also having been somebody who's had to call, well, I didn't call the police, my son did, at my home for my own domestic violence situation, it does give you a different perspective on policing and what it looks like to have to be somebody to actually have to call the police. And so, in political circles, people talk about policing in a lot of different ways, and there's a lot of feelings from one extreme or to the other. But when you work with different populations on a daily basis, when you've had to face violence in your own home, and you have to think about the people in our city who often have challenging situations, you have to really take a holistic approach to how you view these things. And so I am supporting this tonight because I think that we have to think about the balance in our city and what it looks like to have a city that people feel safe in, but also make sure that we have accountability as well. And I think that's possible if we work together, especially on this council, but not only on this council, along with our community, to make sure that we uphold balance and accountability, but also allow our police officers the tools and the responsibility to do their job correctly. So I approve of this resolution tonight. Thank you.
Any additional discussion? I'll add my comments as well. The men and women of the Thornton Police Department are some of the best in the country. And I can say that not just because I'm the proud mayor supporting our City of Thornton Police Department, but I have seen the work that they do. I get the opportunity to swear them in, the new officers, when they come into our city. I've had the opportunity to go through some training with them. They have been open and honest about all of the challenges that they've had and the tools that they need to be successful. And I could not be more proud of this organization and the work they do for us every single day. So I just want to say thank you to all of them. Would you please poll the council?
Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Item 8 is audience participation. This is a time for members of the community to speak on any item that is not on the agenda as a public hearing or going to be on a public hearing in the future. Pursuant to City Council's rules of order and procedure, speaking time is limited to 3 minutes per person with a 1-hour limit on this segment of the agenda. In-person speakers will be heard first, followed by remote speakers registered before the end of the in-person comment segment. Residents of the city, as indicated on the sign-up sheet, will be given preference in the order heard in each segment. The podium located on the dais of the council chambers must be used to offer public comment during the audience participation or public hearing sections of the meeting agenda. In the event of physical inability or preference, the public may offer comment by microphone when seated in the audience seating area, but at no time shall public comment be made while moving around the chambers. Before I ask for anyone who signed up to speak, I recognize that there was a community meeting last week related to parterre. I also recognize that there is a public hearing tonight related to parterre, and those are two separate projects. If you are here to talk about last week's public meeting, you are welcome to come to the podium. If you are here to talk about the public hearing tonight, I'm going to ask you to wait to hold your comments until the public hearing of the portion. If you are unsure which one you want to talk about, just ask us and we will help you with that. So with that, Ms. Long, is there anyone who signed up to speak under audience participation?
Yes, Your Honor. We have 10 individuals in person and 1 online.
Great. So in just a moment, again, each speaker will be given up to 3 minutes to speak, and this segment of the agenda is limited to 1 hour. Please make sure that you watch the light on the podium. When it turns yellow and you hear a single beep, you'll need to wrap up your comments. And when it turns red and you hear multiple beeps, your time is up and I'll have to interrupt you as your 3 minutes are over. When you are called, those in person, you will please come to the podium. Those who indicated on the webinar registration that you wish to speak will be allowed to unmute and speak when the clerk calls your name. Ms. Long, who's the first person signed up to speak?
Ray Benson, 11693 Fillmore Place.
Thank you. I thought I was second. That's okay. All right, I'm here to talk about our water issue. We all know we're going through a drought, number 4 in the nation. I'm a little confused because as a resident for over 30 years, we've been told that we need to cut back and only water twice a week unless we go with the new plant system with the zero landscaping that you guys put forth with new plant life and such like that. I don't know if you really looked into that or you did anything about the plants, but I tried to get a landscaper to do it, and they're virtually impossible to get in the state. Unless you have a place where you bought them from or you know where we can get it from, please put it online because they cannot be bought in this state. There's nowhere to be found for zero-scape plants. So I know you want to beautify our city with that, but my main thing is an average household uses roughly 300 gallons of water a day, okay? But construction, now we have 4 major sites going on just in the small part of Thornton. And I don't know if you guys are really familiar what's going on with how they use the water, but stripping, we'll start with a 10-acre site because that's our standard site around here. A 10-acre site plot can use roughly 30 to 100,000 gallons of water a day just for dust abatement and just keeping everything down and as they putting the dirt together. And we all know that Thornton's very famous of having dirt that has a lot of clay in it, so a moisture content has to be raised, and so them numbers are actually bigger. So it takes an average of 55,000 gallons per day for a construction site, first opening for stripping. So that's 183 homes comparable to 1 day's worth of construction. Now, this doesn't even talk about the water usage during the time when they're installing sewer lines, water pipes, foundation compaction, and any other excavation job that's being done. There's always water involved, but yet I haven't seen any type of restrictions or heard of any that construction's been held up to. I think we need to hold them to the fire, especially when we want our city to grow, but let's do it wisely because it seems like you're putting business ahead of the residents, and it may not be true, but that's the way I see it, and I feel a few other people see it that way too. So I don't know how it can be done. I don't know if we can slow it down or put a memoranda on saying, hey, the water usage has to stop until we get back with it. But we really need to figure out what's more important here, building all these homes and apartments and condos, or is it important to get the city residents water? Because we've never been in such a drought ever. But I'm just here to address that because I don't know if you guys know the stuff, and I've talked to the lady from the water department. She said the Poudre River and all that jazz. That's fine, but we're in a big water issue right now, and I think it needs to be resolved and put the residents first and not construction.
Thank you. Regarding your question on Xeriscape, do we have someone in staff that can follow up with him? Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Kimberly Stack, 2718 East 140th Avenue.
Good evening. My name is Kimberly Stack, and I've been a Thornton homeowner for 9 years, and I'm also a landlord. I'm here today because I am deeply concerned about the disappearance of the county's rental and mortgage assistance funds that have been essential in preventing homelessness. I'm asking the city to consider a temporary stopgap measure to keep families housed while we work to rebuild a stable, long-term solution. You were recently informed in a study session that the county has exhausted the reserve funds it once used to support these programs. Our city has relied on our safety net for years, and without it, these people will lose their homes. Thornton zip codes account for nearly 60% of all eviction filings in the county, even though we make up only 28% of the county's population. That imbalance shows how deeply these issues affect our community. Behind those numbers are very real families. My best friend is a preschool teacher, and I'm going to take a break from my spiel that I have pre-written to remind you that we just honored our early child care workers, and we just talked about the high burnout rates and the low compensation that they get. So this is a woman who did not make any poor financial decisions. She is a preschool teacher. When a son who has a disability graduated from high school and got his first job flipping burgers, they lost their apartment because his minimum wage job pushed them just over the income threshold. The rent went up and they no longer had qualified for help. They were only able to stay housed because her parents took them in. Well, this story has a happy ending for my friend. Many families don't have others that they can turn to in times of crisis. A short-term stopgap at the city level could prevent situations like hers from turning into homelessness. It is also important to remember that rental assistance includes down payment help and help to move to cheaper units. This kind of support is especially crucial right now. Starting July 1st, changes connected to the federal budget bill are projected to cause millions of people nationally to lose Medicaid and SNAP. Here in Adams County, child care assistance funds are frozen. And again, I just want to remind you that we just talked about the decrease in child care slots available. So when families lose multiple supports at once, it makes it harder for single parents to remain employed, earn an income, and therefore afford their rent. But if we had these rental and down payment assistance programs, they would be able to remain housed. A temporary measure could bridge the gap until we are able to restore a sustainable program. From my work in social services, I know that most families who receive rental assistance are hardworking parents who fell behind because of an emergency. For the first time in decades, there's no safety net for them, and that's why the short-term stopgap is really important. I also want to briefly allude to Maslow's hierarchy of needs because it shows why this matters. It is basically a simple pyramid of needs, and at the bottom, the foundations are things that people need to survive, such as food, water, and a place to live. So the question becomes, how can we work as a community to support these families and keep them home during this transition period?
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Carl Blush, 14819 Sara Cruz Way.
Madam Mayor and City Council, I'm Carl Blesh from Heritage Todd Creek in Ward 3, joined by my wife Vicki this evening. First and always, thank you for your service. We know it comes with a certain amount of brain damage, and we appreciate your willingness to serve. We're here tonight because something has gone wrong in our area, and whether it's by mistake or otherwise, we believe that it needs the city's attention. As apparently you know, on April 16, more than 100 of our neighbors attended a pretty contentious meeting about a proposed development at the southeast corner of Ayler and Quebec. What we learned at that meeting was pretty shocking. The developer, Hines Corporation, which is a $92 billion corporation, told us that this would not be the middle school that we had been told to expect in that place, and instead there would be 700 multifamily units, mostly apartments and some townhomes, plus some commercial businesses that were drive-ups like gas stations and liquor stores. Even more concerning, and in response to a direct question, Heinz told us that this was proposed, but that it was going to move forward and no one could stop it. To its credit, Heinz acknowledged that the so-called proposal did in fact include a middle school originally. It offered the excuse that the school district changed the location of the middle school, not Heinz, which is certainly true. Unfortunately, that doesn't explain why area residents were never given meaningful notice that this project had so fundamentally changed. Now, we chose our 55-plus community because it's comparatively quiet and safe, and in buying our homes, we relied upon representations that the site at Ayler in Quebec would be a park or a school, not dense housing. We all know why we are concerned about that change. And so, since we have an elder population, I'm 77, this will probably be the last house I have. We want to know that when something major is happening, we're going to have a right to be heard. And we don't feel that that happened in this particular case. So what we're asking you to do is to direct staff to investigate the situation. We want to know whether proper notice was given, and it appears that it was not. And if this project did not come with proper notice of the change, we ask you to have another look. It appears to us that the city is really making an effort in good faith to be transparent, and we appreciate that very much. What we'd ask you to do is don't make us regret putting our faith in the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Chris Cook, 3901 East 135th Drive.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Chris Cook, and I'm a Thornton resident living in Ward 4. I'm here again to bring up concerns about Thornton's use of the flock camera system. In May 2025, a sheriff's deputy in Johnson County, Texas, used Denver's flock cameras to surveil a woman who traveled to Denver. This poor woman, fleeing her state's harsh anti-abortion laws, never realized that she had an invisible scarlet letter attached to the back of her car, and that the Denver Flock Camera Network recorded and sent images of her activities back to Texas. Both Flock and the Johnson County Sheriff's Department claimed that this search was simply part of a missing persons investigation. But later, under released court records, it was shown that this woman was under a death investigation of a non-viable fetus. They then collected the ALPR data as evidence of the woman's self-managed abortion and consulted with prosecutors about charging her for a crime. Because of Flock, there is no escape for her, and her crime was seeking her fundamental right of bodily autonomy and reproductive freedom. Not only did this Texas Sheriff's Department lie about this, but so did Flock Safety. And Flock Safety has a long track record of lying. You can look at the Thornton for All's document titled Request for ALPR in Thornton to find numerous examples of this. So why does Flock Safety feel the need to lie and lobby so hard to protect their product? It's not about cameras, nor is it about their technology. Flock Safety's most valuable asset is their interconnected camera network, which they're building as a social network of police precincts. Flock wants to be the Facebook of ALPRs. In 2025, Loveland, Colorado gave both the ATF and CBP access to their Flock account. These federal agencies were then able to gain access to Denver's Flock camera network through the city-to-city share agreement with Loveland to conduct ICE-related investigations. How can we be sure that these federal agencies, through share agreements Thornton has with other communities, won't gain access to our Flock data? And maybe this time CBP or ATF won't catalog the reason for their search as ICE, because that is what got them in trouble in Loveland. Perhaps instead, they'll log the reason as just sus, and we will never know their true intent. It has been previously mentioned that Flock has been great in stopping auto theft. However, what we have seen with Flock Safety is a horrible track record of their technology attacking the civil liberties of others. I shouldn't have to say this, but I feel like I must. I implore all of you here to place greater emphasis of protecting the civil liberties of others over protecting property value. Both can be important, but please choose people over property. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Doug Dar, 2150 Lake Circle Drive.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Mayor. My name is Doug Dar, and I'm a member of the Neighbors North Thornton Community and Business Group. You may recall that we're a group that had concerns about a building project on 128th and Claude Court. I'm here this evening specifically to provide an update. Since last September, we haven't stopped working. We're still on this. And we've been working on an alternative conceptual design. The gentleman who has created it, Josh Bybee, is here this morning. That's what he does. With the mayor's assistance, we've now had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Peter Lafari and his maker staff, executive staff, operational staff. And the reason is to find some common ground, to collaborate, to work together on things that are important within our community, to create a plan that benefits everyone in the community. Now, that's going to include housing, yes, but it also includes some small business development on the 128th Avenue corridor, specifically at Claude Court. We think that could benefit an awful lot of people, considering that there are about 30,000 cars, maker's estimate, that pass along that roadway on a daily basis. That's a lot, and there's very, very little business development there in that area. Our initial meeting with Maker went well. So well that a second meeting has been scheduled for June the 4th. And we'll be meeting with Mr. Lafari and his group one more time, specifically to show them this alternative conceptual design. They want to see it. They want to see what we're talking about, what's possible based upon the zoning that presently exists there. We've now scheduled a Neighbors North Thornton meeting. It'll be our community meeting where we get a chance to talk a lot about it. But more importantly, we'll get a chance to present the entire plan to all of our membership. Now, some of you have already had a chance to see a version of the plan, but not everybody. Schedules are busy. So not every council member's had the opportunity. We want to specifically invite you to join us, if you like, on May the 14th at 6:30 p.m. at Crossroads Community Church at 128th and I-25, and we'll provide you an opportunity to see what we've worked so hard on and that we hope will be acceptable to you. I'll be happy to answer any questions, but before I do, Madam Mayor, I had the opportunity to work with members of the Thornton Police Department for more than 40 years. You are right. They are special. They do a good job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would you please call the next person?
Kyle Kingston, 2920 East 133rd Circle.
Kyle Kingston, resident of Thornton. I also am here to talk about flock surveillance cameras. Usually, "not in my backyard" is a slogan of the privileged. I am usually not in sympathy with those who resort to it. But I suppose I'm expressing something similar to that privilege today in regards to the use of flock technology and its many, many dangers to our community. I mean, flock has been rammed down the throats of other communities. Why should we be special? We are told that flock is an indispensable tool for law enforcement, this new toy that automates cumbersome due process and removes the need for responsible human policing. The way this toy works may feel icky, it may be invasive and intrusive and buggy, but why should we complain? If we have nothing to hide, then surely we are not in danger from the watchful robotic eye. After all, what expectation of privacy is reasonable these days? I, for one, trust implicitly that the police will use this terrifying technology in only the most responsible ways. When have American police departments ever overstepped their authority or violated the public trust? except for those embarrassing headlines Thornton PD got last month. But I'm sure they've learned their lesson, and I'm sure that all the other local and federal agencies plugged into this monstrosity have only our best interests and safety in mind. So yes, Thornton city government should either get with the times or get left behind. After all, this little suburb is a hotbed of crime that only a massive surveillance network can prevent. Flock is a necessary shield against the dangerous criminal horde that plagues the city. Just yesterday, you'd have called them your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Stephen Matthias, 2076 East 102nd Avenue.
Good evening, Council. I wanted to take some time today to respond to the Mayor's comments in North Glen Thornton Sentinel this past week. I did want to start by saying we actually agree. We do believe that we should be building trust. We disagree strongly with the methods, and we do not feel it's currently happening. I do also want to address that we do not spread misinformation. Our organizational leaders do vet everything we say before we speak. I can't speak for every member, nor would I expect any of you to speak for every member of your respective political parties. However, those of us wearing this, we have done our research. We know what we're talking about. I also noticed, the Mayor, you talked about a great amount of trust in the police department. I don't doubt that, but I think we live in two different cities. I've knocked a lot of doors in wards 1 and 2. I don't hear the same feedback. I hear, especially in Ward 1, people who won't even call the police because they don't think anything's going to get done. Why bother? And that's part of the problem that we're facing down in Ward 1. And going forward, it's getting worse when it comes to trust. We are going to see reduced transparency, reduced trust and accountability when it comes to the police department policies and the use of Flock. We have in the past uncovered some concerning information, as we have shared with you. That will be redacted for the rest of us. We will never see another report that allows us to follow up on this information. Flock will no longer give us any information about officers. In fact, the police department wouldn't have. We only got our information because not every organization in the national network has the same restrictive policies we do here. Now that comes to what the Mayor had talked about and disagreed with us on, the point of the Public Safety Citizens Committee. That's not a new idea. They actually have it in Commerce City, and I think if a smaller city has found use for it, we should at least consider that, particularly when we've heard feedback from multiple members sitting on the dais today that we are using up too much time talking about Flock, talking about safety issues, talking about tornado sirens, talking about Code Red. Let's have this committee. Let's help reduce that load on you and have that conversation, have a place for residents to be heard. Finally, there was a claim that we have blocked members of this council from our social media. I wish to address to all of you that is not true. If any of you have any trouble interacting with us on any platform in which we're engaged, please reach out. We're happy to talk with you. We do not believe that anyone should be blocked, and we welcome anyone at our meetings, even who disagrees with us. So if you're having any trouble reaching us, info@thorntonforall.org. We'll be happy to sit down and help you get on, talk to us however you wish. But we do believe that no one should silence dissent, not us, not you, whether it's a dissent about Flock or whether people are reaching out on Facebook about economic decisions around gas and oil industries. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Sandra Wolf, Ward 1.
Good evening. I'm Sandra Wolf, aka Stormy Weather, not to be confused with Stormy Daniels. But I'm here to talk about the April through July's tornado season. If you watch the news tonight, you've seen all over the U.S. all the tornadoes that are happening. And so far, just this year so far, the U.S. has had 451 tornadoes. And it's been predicted that in 2026, we will have at least 1,250. And since our city doesn't have an outdoor warning siren, we have kind of checked out this new high-low siren system that Douglas County has just recently adopted or using. And I had talked to some city leaders this last week, and they assured me that the police department and the fire department are looking into that. So I want to give them a kudo for that. I'm a cheerleader for high-low sirens. I think that it's something this city needs, as big as we are, and as fast and terrible and disastrous that these tornadoes can be. I was at a chief chat last week, and the chief asked some of the participants, how many have Thornton Ready? And I only seen a few hands raised, not as many as I'd like to. But he did encourage people to sign up. So thank you for that, Chief. If you're not signed up for Thornton Ready, I encourage you to at least have a family communication plan or some kind of a survivor plan. Think of a safe place to go if you have to. Keep your eye on the sky. That's the way I tell what's going on. I watch the sky all the time because it tells you a lot better than sometimes our weather people. They don't quite get it right. So thank you, but watch out for those tornadoes because I'm here to tell you, I don't want to feel like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz because I know they move fast. And I'm from Iowa, been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Miriam Quintana, Thornton. Okay. Tom Lampo, no address provided.
All right, hello to Thornton. It's difficult times, but not all is lost. We are in God's good hands. I'm Tom Lampo. I'm here tonight because I oppose Chris Russell's statement about the Flock CEO. I agree with free speech and expression of free speech. Chris, you stated, you found statements made by the Flock CEO troubling. He classified Americans who raise questions concerning the technology as those who want to defund the police or want to weaken public safety or normalize lawlessness. You believe these statements are negative and make assumptions of you and other Americans. You then made a highly vulgar, offensive, and derogatory statement using the Flock name. This is what I oppose. I doubt this will lead to productive conversation with representatives from Flock. Chris, earlier this year, you had respectful words about Dr. King on your Facebook page. Dr. King preached a sermon a few times titled Accepting Responsibility for Your Actions. His final statement is, not environment, not heredity, but personal response is the final determining factor in our lives. And herein lies our area of responsibilities. Those are Dr. King's words, not mine. I have been here for some 16 months stating the majority before me have made negative statements and assumptions about me and other Americans in your white hate statement, yet you do not care. Very similar to what the Flock CEO has done. Concerning the land you keep speaking about, the Europeans used the framework of European international law, which relied on documented formal claims rather than inhabited land usage. In 1803, the Louisiana Territory was purchased for less than 3 cents an acre. In 1867, Alaska was purchased for less than 2 cents an acre. A lot has transpired with the land in America, but ultimately the Indian Claims Commission awarded millions in land compensation to various nations. This amounted to around 70 cents an acre. That is far greater than other nations were given at that time period. By paying for the land, it legally extinguished Aboriginal title. It's not Indian land, it's American land. You state this land is stolen, which makes me a thief. I am not. If you believe you are on stolen land, then give it back to the very first owners. You can't and you won't, because you won't, that makes... Oh, okay. Because you won't, that makes the majority of you before me a bunch of immoral, unethical, socially irresponsible thugs that have no business representing Thornton residents. You are hypocrites. You have miscategorized me and tens of thousands of Thornton residents. Remove your white hate statement from Thornton and end the destruction you've created and start building lasting community. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
CJ Collins, Ward 2.
Is he online?
He is, and it looks like he's unmuted.
Mr. Collins, we can't hear you if you're trying to talk. Now we can.
Can you hear me?
We can now. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name's CJ Collins, lived in Thornton for 36 years. I was born in Glenwood Springs. My father was born and raised in Minturn. And my grandfather was the station agent in Thornton in Rifle for many years. Basically, I'm from the Western Slope. I turned 70 a few months ago while in South America with my South American family. I've been traveling there since 1999, countless visits, so I speak and understand Spanish quite well. Because I wasn't intellectually lazy and I took the time to learn the grammar. I know the Latino culture very well, having married into it. Most of my tenants are Latino in my investment properties, and most of my friends are also Latinos. My son lives in Barcelona, Spain, so I travel there frequently in other European countries. I think I have deep insights into Latino culture that most Americans do not. They're my true brothers and sisters, and I care for them deeply. I told my wife when I married her that it was a great honor for me to become part of their family after spending time getting to know their values. I think they're incredible additions to our country as immigrants, with their family values on steroids and incredible work ethics. My right-hand man, mi mano derecha. We have done many projects together. He's from Mexico. He does excellent and outstanding work. I helped sponsor him and his wife so they are now legal residents. I first became aware of Jennifer Coleman a while back when I had heard what the city of Thornton did to a Hispanic man and his family experienced a mental health crisis. His name was Jaime Ceballos. Jaime means James, by the way, in English. His family called the police, and within a minute he was dead in his driveway holding a baseball bat. Thornton gave a Medal of Valor to the police officer. So basically, I want to say I haven't seen the council speak out about how Hispanic and Latinos are being targeted by Republicans. Please, if you've seen other communities speak out against ICE, please have the
Thank you
courage
very
to
much.
do so.
I believe that was the last person signed up to speak.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there anyone in the audience that wanted to speak but didn't know you needed to sign up? If so, you can come to the podium now. All right, we will move on to item 9, which is council comments and communications. I'll mix it up like I did last time. I think today we're going to start with Ward 3 and then work our way around the circle. So Councilmember Kunto, you get to go first.
This will be short and sweet. We've got a couple public hearings coming, so no comment.
Councilmember Byrd.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's been a busy 2 weeks, so I'm going to go over some of the things that we touched base on. So I sit on the NLC Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources Committee. We had a meeting today going over some of the federal bills that are coming forward and discussing things at a national level to kind of evaluate what's best for us as a city and as a nation. Saturday, I attended the Earth Day event in Westminster, where my daughter was able to build herself a new birdhouse, so she's loving that. On Wednesday, the 22nd, I attended the ADCOG quarterly dinner. Some of you may have seen my post. One of the police officers was kind enough to show us how they do some of their evasive driving and throw me around in the back seat of it, so it was pretty fun. We had the AC Rep Business Advocacy and Public Policy meeting We did the Fire Station 8 uncoupling ceremony. And those are some of the ones that we're just kind of touching base on. Looking forward to meeting with the IAFCI Summit tomorrow, and getting to meet some of the people there at Trail Winds for that event. Next, I want to touch base on some of the stuff that's been brought up. I understand the concerns and kind of push that's going on with parterre. I have been trying to reach out to every email that's been coming through regarding that. If I haven't responded to you, please re-email me again. I'm happy to get back to you and touch base on that. I know that this is a sensitive subject, being that the zoning and stuff was done in 2021. So it's really hard to kind of touch base on a lot of that, but I will be working with the city staff and Councilmember Acunto to see if we can get anything, any other meetings set up to be able to discuss anything further with you guys. So please feel free to reach out to me regarding anything on that, and I'm happy to get back to you. And that's it for me.
Councilmember Algie?
Oh, yeah, you zapped me on there. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So good evening, everyone. Thank you to everyone who participated in Public Speaks this evening. I will always support Public Speaks, as this platform not only ensures that our neighbors have the ability to be heard, but more importantly, keeps us here on the dais accountable and transparent. I have been in community this month. I attended the Easter egg extravaganza and our boards and commissions meet and greet, which were both held at Community Park and the Thornton Community Center, respectively. I was joined at both events by the majority of my colleagues. Parents and children both enjoyed the extravaganza. In fact, found out as newly elected council member, we have an additional duty that day. We have to help distribute the candy and the goodies for the kiddos. So that was really amazing to be a part of that. Thank you, Thornton Parks, for yet another successful kickoff to our festival season. I had the opportunity at the meet and greet to meet many of our newest board and commission members. Thank you all for stepping up to help Thornton be an even better place to live. As a former Tashco and TAB member, I will always support our boards and commissions. Last Wednesday, in celebration of Earth Day, I attended the Earth Day event at the Capitol, which was hosted by my good friend, House District 10 State Representative Junie Joseph. Also, amongst some of the speakers was our badass Mayor Pro Tem Randy Moorman. We celebrated the environmental wins this session, along with acknowledging the environmental battles that lie ahead. Also last Wednesday, I attended my first Adams County Council of Governments ADCOG quarterly dinner, which Councilmember Byrd spoke about, which we as the city of Thornton hosted at the Thornton PD Training Center in Ward 2. Mayor Coleman spoke along with her fellow mayors who were able to attend. Thornton PD also gave tours of the training facility to all the attendees, but I did not partake in the riding in the car. I let Devin take care of that for me. But that was pretty cool. Once again, I was joined by the majority of my colleagues, along with fellow municipal electeds from neighboring communities, and also Adams County Commissioners Kathy Henson and Steve Odorizio. Last Thursday, I attended the Thornton PD Coffee with a Cop, which was held at the Starbucks inside Target at the Thornton Crossing Shopping Center. And of course, I mentioned before that I had the honor of meeting our newest canine, Donut. And also the timing for this could not be better, with May being Mental Health Awareness Month here in the city of Thornton. So thank you, Thornton PD, again, for bringing Donut into the community and onto the force. Last Friday evening, I attended the opening reception of Protected and Exposed, an exhibition by Denver-based artist and teacher Jelena Joy Felker at the Oz Gallery. Her work explores the complexities of the female experience and objectification of women, and aims to empower and protect the female body. And it was a packed house. Her exhibit will be on display through June 18th. And once again, I want to thank Thornton Arts, Thornton Parks, and Tashco for their amazing work. I have been and will continue to meet with neighbors concerning flock usage. During my recent bereavement trip to California, I spoke with several of my family members about this important topic, two of whom are elected officials. San Diego County Superior Court Judges Dan and Tony Segura. And Dan is one of my immediate first cousins. And we had a very productive conversation about that. On that note, Mayor Pro Tem Ayala and myself are looking forward to our next meetup with neighbors this Thursday evening from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Active Adult Center. There will be burgers and hot dogs, but more importantly, conversations about the issues facing our community. We hope to see everyone on Thursday evening. And my last comment, today is Workers' Memorial Day. America's unions mourn the workers who have lost their lives or been injured or made ill on the job. Every worker should be able to go home after their shift safe and healthy. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala.
Thank you. I just have a few comments for tonight. I just want to give a quick update on a few things I've proposed as part of the work with council and staff around technology, privacy, and public safety tools for our city. I know a lot of folks have been bringing that to our attention during public comment, and so I just kind of wanted to give a comprehensive overview of some of the things I've proposed over the last month to make sure that we're addressing the concerns of the community. So first of all, I propose that we develop a clear policy for council to review new technologies before they're implemented, especially tools that involve data collection, surveillance, or tracking. And the goal with that is really not to slow things down, but to make sure we have a consistent, transparent process in place so we can ask questions clearly and early in the implementation, so we can understand the impacts and make informed decisions as a governing body of the city of Thornton. The second thing I've proposed is that we dedicate one of our police engagement series meetings specifically to flock and the license plate reader technology. And I do know there's also more technology coming in the form of drones that we had gone to a presentation to earlier this month. There's been a lot of community interest and concern around these issues, and I believe it's important to create a dedicated space where the residents can ask questions, hear directly from staff, specifically our police staff, and have an open conversation both about the public safety benefits and the privacy implications. And then the last thing, the third thing, I've asked the police chief to take a new look at our current ALPR system to evaluate whether it's still the best fit for the department. That review would include cost, operational effectiveness, potential alternatives, and what this could mean for the long-term budgeting. And that would be for the 2027 budget is what I'm hoping. And I just want to be clear about these proposals. It's not about directing the day-to-day operations of our city staff, because as council, that is not our job to direct the day-to-day operations of our city staff or our police force. But it's about strengthening our role as a council and making sure we're asking the right questions at the right time, being responsible with public resources like taxpayer dollars, but also staying responsive to what the community is concerned about and what we're hearing from the community. And so I do believe that folks, deserve to have an understanding of the tools that are being used in the city, why they're being used, and how they impact privacy and safety. But my focus is also in making sure that we have accountability, but also fiscal responsibility, because I think when I've looked at this whole conversation that we're having in the community on a broader scale and talk to many different residents, folks want a balance of making sure that there's protection and safety, but also fiscal responsibility, and also looking at the accountability of surveillance. So as Councilmember Algie said, we have our community meeting this Thursday. If folks have specific questions, concerns, ideas, comments, please come talk to us. I think the more specific and the more clear and concrete and concise of the ask, the better it is for us to understand exactly what folks would like to see. That way we can get the correct policy asks via City Council to our city staff to look at these concerns. Thank you.
Councilmember Salazar.
I sincerely appreciate Stephen and Sandra for taking the time to share your valuable perspectives and for engaging passionately to make our community better. And that's it tonight.
Councilmember Martinez.
Okay, hey everybody. I spent putting together all the things that I did over the last couple of weeks, and there's quite a bit. So I'll give you a little overview of that, and I also want to recognize some of my residents here in Ward 1 for some of the great things that they've been doing. But to start, I want to give a special thank you to Adam and our Director of Economic Development for meeting with me and a representative from Huntington Bank to discuss the Ignite Small Business Program that they have to offer. We're trying to see if they can incorporate that into some of the offerings from the Alianza Business Center, which offers small business training courses and resources both in English and Spanish. And this particular program offered by the folks at Huntington Bank looks at different ways for different courses in Spanish to help Spanish small business owners, Spanish-speaking small business owners, for building banking relationships, getting access to capital, finding the correct sources and financing for their business. So hopefully we can get this incorporated into the coursework, but we'll see what comes down the road. But I do want to thank our economic development team for making the time to meet with those folks in hopes that we can offer more services to our Spanish-speaking business owners. I was also attending the National League of Cities Hispanic Elected Officials Board meeting, which I serve on. We discussed the upcoming summit, which will be hosted by the Mexican-American Policy Alliance to discuss and find ways for local government officials across the border in the United States and Mexico to build stronger relations to better serve residents and immigrants of both nations. So that should be really exciting when that comes out, and honored to be on that steering committee. I also serve on the Denver Regional Council of Governments, or DRCOG board, and on the 15th we had a board meeting. The summary of that is, well, the Metropolitan Planning Organization boundary is expanding to include Clear Creek and Gilpin counties. And more exciting, though, is the Powerhead Colorado Innovation Pilot Program. The Powerhead Colorado program is something I've spoken on several times, but it's a $200 million plus federal grant to help electrification across the region, among other things. And the $6 million Powerhead Colorado grant program, or innovation pilot program, is there to help make progress on community-driven building electrification projects. And they have opened that grant up for applications in the near future, and I'm looking forward to see if our city, Thornton, will be submitting for those grants. I'm sure we can come up with some exciting opportunities from DRCOG. They also discussed the Senate Bill 26-150. For those of you who haven't heard of that, the Senate is proposing a major shakeup in the RTD governance. They're looking at changing the board from its existing makeup to reducing it to 9 members, 5 elected, 4 of them being appointed. The DRCOG board took an amendment position, and our city has also taken a similar position as well. We're monitoring it very closely. This will make some serious changes to our public transportation service. I also attended a meeting with the executive director with the naloxone project to discuss different opportunities to expand access to naloxone throughout Thornton. Our public safety team offers free naloxone when needed, but we'd like to see that expanded to our Parks and Recreation Department, and certainly that is underway. So thank you to our staff for addressing that and meeting with the naloxone project. I also want to commend the people from Neighbors North Thornton for inviting me to see all the work that they've done on the Claude Court project. It's really refreshing to see a proactive approach on that, and I look forward to seeing all the different alternative options that can come forward with that. So I definitely would like to hear more from you on that. Of course, we heard about the uncoupling station for fire station number 8 on the 18th. We celebrated that. This will dramatically reduce response times for people living in northeast part of Thornton and unincorporated Adams County. So thank you to our fire department and our city council for remedying those response times by opening the new fire station. I know all the residents up there are very grateful, and so am I. I also attended the Almost Home fundraiser on the 19th. It was a great event, great new space. They raised a lot of money to go towards services like eviction prevention and homelessness prevention services, which are deeply needed in Adams County. I'm also serving on the chair as a DRCOG subcommittee. It's called the Economic Development District Advisory Committee. That is an interesting program to help unify economic development activities across the region. Certainly Thornton is going to develop as this program gets underway. One of the highlights of that is a guest spotlight from the Early Childhood Services Corps. It's a presentation that highlighted a model using adults over 60 to address child care shortages. It provides training and certification for people who want to help out in early childhood education, who are people who are retired. We already heard that, so I feel like that ties in well with our resolution from earlier. There was also a NADA meeting on the 23rd that I attended, where we discussed some similar transportation issues that I already mentioned, the RTD governance, those things. And the last thing I'll mention is the Arbor Day tree planting on the 25th. It was really amazing to see so many volunteers out there. I would say planting trees is a lot of hard work. A lot of the volunteers were high school kids that really weren't ready for all the digging. All in all, me and my daughter, we helped plant 3 separate trees. I'm really glad I brought her. It made a lasting impact on her. And finally, I just want to, remember a resident that we lost recently in Ward 1. She was a victim of a violent crime, and she was an important part of the community in Ward 1. I've been lucky enough to know her and work with her on several different issues. It's a tragic loss. The community is really heartbroken, and we'll all miss her. I'm not going to mention her name because I don't think it was publicly released, but it was a major tragedy for Ward 1 in the city of Thornton, and we're all going to miss her. And my condolences go out to her and her family. And that's it.
Councilmember Morris.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for everyone that showed up tonight, provide public comment. I know it takes a lot to take time out of your evening to come here, to sit and listen and then speak. So truly value that. I appreciate some of the members from Neighbors North Thornton that showed up. And I do appreciate the work you're doing to be engaged in the community, to engage how the community develops, and to make it something that we all want to see. So thanks to Mr. Dar, and I know Josh and Monica were here as well, and it looks like they're gone. Let's see. So the mayor and I had the opportunity since our last meeting to attend the Mableton Air Force JROTC Military Ball. It's a great event. I don't know if anybody's ever been to one of those or any kind of military ball, but these high school kids came together, this unit, and put on a great event. The students spent time together. They enjoyed challenging one another to try their version of the grog. And if you don't know what grog is, look that up. They recognized each other's achievements, and several students received awards from nearly 20 national organizations. What stood out, and more than just a ceremony, was really what these students were building. It was great to see this in person. Their character, their confidence, and the mindset of service. And whether or not they pursue military service in the future isn't really the point of organizations and events like this. Our community is better right now because of what these students are learning through this program. You can see it how they carry themselves, how they lead, and the standard they hold themselves to. This program is an important part of our community. It's developing young people who understand responsibility, self-discipline, excellence, and what it means to be part of something bigger than themselves. So I want to give a shout out to Lieutenant Colonel Arrington and Senior Master Sergeant Altop for their leadership. They're the 2 gentlemen that lead this JROTC unit in the Mapleton School District. And I want to thank the families who were there that night, who provided support for the military ball. And of course, they continue to support these students every day. I want to give a shout out to 2 students in the unit. Congratulations to Cadet Hernandez for her service as student commander of the unit. And good luck to her in college. Congrats to Cadet Lucero as he takes on that student leadership role moving forward for the next school year. And to all of the cadets of the Raider Squadron, keep up the great work. We have a few upcoming events that I wanted to share. Tomorrow, Wednesday, April 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. Our Community Connections team will be hosting a fair housing resource fair at the Community Connections building. This event will feature free vaccinations, snacks, and prizes. And professionals will be available to answer your housing-related questions and provide information on home buying, down payment assistance, rent assistance, aging-in-place fair housing laws, home rehabilitation programs, home sharing, eviction prevention, city services, and more. And they do recommend pre-registration for any vaccinations. This Saturday, May 2nd at 9 a.m., the new cricket pitch at the Thornton Sports Complex will have its grand opening. And then following at 10 a.m., there'll actually be a youth cricket match. And so I just wanted to share some quick history about cricket because I've never watched it. And I wanted to share that with you. So apparently cricket has roots in England going back several centuries, possibly as early as the 1200s. starting as a simple rural game before becoming organized in the 1700s. The rules were formalized in 1788 by the Marylebone Cricket Club in London, many of which still shape the game today. So as the British Empire extended, cricket spread globally and became especially popular in places like India and Australia. One of its most famous rivalries, the Ashes, which is played between England and Australia, is still being played and has been around since 1882. And today, this is an interesting fact, cricket ranges from traditional multi-day matches, I had no idea that they went that long, multi-day matches to fast-paced formats like T20, which last about 3 hours. So hopefully that's what the youth plan to do on Saturday. Interesting fact as well, and I'll close with this, cricket is the second most popular sport in the world by fan base, with billions of followers globally. So I hope you'll join that cricket grand opening on Saturday, and otherwise have a great night. Thank you.
Councilmember Russell?
Thank you. So I'll start with a quick preface because I'm going to address the public comments made about me this evening. I always welcome them. I think it's fair and it's an open forum for these specific reasons. My hope or ambition by responding, though, is that it doesn't become a back and forth at this meeting or next meetings, because we don't need to soak up the time in that manner. But I am happy to heed your advice and be accountable. I understand what I said was colorful and bold, but it was done so with some intent. So if you found it offensive, I can apologize for that, because I do understand how that could be received. But it was done with intent. And while the comments may not always be appreciated, I am doing my job to create effective and positive outcomes so that we can get to a solution on this matter, which has continuously been discussed for months now. So with that, and before I get into my usual comments, I wanted to let you know, I know you made there was a statement made that, that probably wouldn't help with relationships or communications between myself and Flock. Well, quite the contrary. Today, I met and had lunch with the vice president of Flock. So sometimes bold statements create movement and allow for conversations. And I will say, the meeting was exceptional. It was very positive, insightful. Both parties, everybody was trying to address the needs as well as come up with solutions. And I have literally nothing but positive things to say out of that meeting. But that meeting doesn't happen unless sometimes you gain the attention of those. And obviously, I put myself on their radar with a very bold statement. Not by any means a bullseye on my back. And that was very clear to me, when we sat and discussed what we needed to talk about. So perhaps my tactics, aren't always the most well received, but it did provide an outcome. And there was agreement. They also felt that the CEO, Garrett Langley, his comments were consequential and assured that improvements around public comments have been addressed within their company, and it was an avoidable step back from their mission. So I don't have any regrets for what I said and how I did it, because I think it progressively moves us forward and brings the parties together so that we can continue to work to address the needs of the residents as well as the companies, support our police. And again, I apologize if my tactics aren't well received, but they absolutely worked. And I think there's going to be some very beneficial outcomes, as we continue to move forward, because we have open communications now. So that's to address the public comment. And I just felt that that was something that I think you would appreciate, the update and the information around it. I try to be impartial, listen to the residents, listen to our police, and all the needs of everybody to address matters through communication that, you're not going to win every negotiation. Matter of fact, you shouldn't. But if you feel like there was progress made and you didn't get everything you need, well, there's still progress. So with that, I'll shift over to some of my, pre-prepared comments. Over the past few weeks, I did have the opportunity to also attend the Food for Hope Rooted in Hope annual fundraiser. This event was a powerful reminder of the incredible work being done to support students and families facing food insecurity. The impact of this organization continues to grow, and it's inspiring to see our community rally behind such an important cause. I was also honored to attend the ribbon cutting and uncoupling ceremony for the new Thornton Fire Station number 8. The investment represents continued commitment to public safety, faster response times, and ensuring our firefighters have the resources they need to serve our residents effectively. Thank you to everyone involved for bringing that project to life. In celebration of Earth Day, I joined students, staff, and volunteers at Pathways and Discovery Schools, 2 schools in one day, for their Earth Day events and community efforts, cleaning up, picking up trash as such. It was great to see so many young people engaged in taking care of our environment and demonstrating pride in their community. Their energy and commitment are a great example for all of us. Lastly, I attended the ADCOG quarterly dinner that was held at the Thornton Police Training Facility, and was also another valuable opportunity to connect with regional partners, discuss our shared priorities, and continue to strengthen the collaboration across our communities. So thank you to all the organizers, volunteers, and staff who made these events possible and help keep Thornton a vibrant and connected community. Thank you.
All right, just a few updates from me as well. I recognize we have a very full agenda for the rest of the evening, so I'm going to try to keep mine short. The city's currently advertising for the Thornton Active Adult Board for Ward 2 or 3. The deadline to apply for this is May 10th at 5 p.m. The city's also currently advertising for the Building Code Advisory Board for Ward 1, Election Commission for Ward 2, and the Planning Commission and Board of Adjustments for Ward 2. And the deadline to apply for these 3 is May 26th at 5 p.m. I think my colleagues did a great job talking about all the amazing things that we've done over the last couple weeks. I think the only thing I'm going to add to that is that this coming Saturday, Thornton Community Band is having a concert at Mountain Range High School at 7 p.m. The mayor may or may not be Godzilla. But you have to show up to find out. With that, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for coming tonight and speaking. I very much appreciate the engagement, but not just the engagement, but how you engage tonight. We don't always have to agree. In fact, it's actually good that we don't always agree because that's how we get better. So thank you very much for coming tonight. I'm actually going to take a quick break before we get started because we have some long public hearings coming before us. All right, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to take a quick break. Item 10 is quasi-judicial public hearings. So before I begin tonight's land use hearings, I want to briefly explain council's role in the quasi-judicial process. For matters such as development applications, site-specific rezonings, and similar requests, the council acts in a quasi-judicial capacity. In this role, we are legally required to base our decisions solely on the evidence and testimony presented during the public hearing. Because of that, we must avoid ex parte communications, which are any discussions about the merits of a pending application outside of this forum. That means that council members cannot discuss these cases with the public beforehand, cannot take positions in advance, and must keep an open mind until the close of the hearing. These requirements are not meant to distance us from the community. They are designed to protect the fairness and integrity of the process and to ensure that any decision we make is legally defensible. Tonight's record, which includes the staff analysis, the applicant's presentation, and the public testimony, will form the basis of our decision. We appreciate your participation and your understandings of these procedural obligations. And with that, I would ask at this time anyone in the audience intending to give testimony, including citizens who have signed up to speak, to please stand so you can be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you hereby swear or affirm that your testimony before this council will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief? Thank you.
Item 10A is a public hearing concerning a resolution approving a conceptual site plan in the Community Retail Zone District for the addition of a restaurant generally located at the southeast corner of Thornton Parkway and Huron Street, Schweitzer Subdivision, Block 1, Lots 1 and 4. Before I open the public hearing, Councilmember Salazar?
Yes, I'll need to recuse myself from this as I was at the public meeting before I was on council.
So you were engaged in the meeting with ex parte before you were on council, so you'll be recusing from tonight.
Yep.
I'll just ask if you stay in your seat just to not participate in this discussion, but you are welcome to take a break if you would like. All right, the public hearing is now open at 8:54 p.m. Aaron Rogowski, planner, will present this item. Please state your name, address, and whether or not you were sworn, and if you have not, please respond to the clerk after she gives the oath.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. Aaron Rogowski, 9500 Civic Center Drive, and I have been sworn in. Item 10A is a conceptual site plan for the addition of a restaurant on the building located at 9150 Huron Street. The application was initiated prior to the 2025 Development Code adoption and therefore was reviewed under the 1992 Development Code. This presentation will include an overview of the project from staff and the applicant, a summary of the public input received, staff's evaluation of the applicable code approval criteria, and will end with staff's recommendation. This is a vicinity map of the site, which is highlighted in yellow. The property includes Lot 1 and Lot 4 of the Schweitzer subdivision. Notices for this public hearing were sent by mail to all property owners within 1,500 feet of the subject site. The buffer is shown here by the purple line. Notices were also posted online and at city facilities at least 10 days prior to this public hearing. The applicant has also met the physical signposting requirements on site, and the signposting affidavit has been entered into the official record for this public hearing. A closer view is provided here, and the subject site is outlined in red. The property is approximately 1.5 acres and was zoned community retail, which has since changed due to the adoption of the new development code to general commercial. Surrounding zoning includes residential high density, city center, and general commercial. The Overlook Apartments are located southeast of this project, with retail uses to the north, a gas station to the west, and the Glacier Car Wash to the south. There are also several vacant parcels of land to the north and east of the subject site. Lot 4 of the Schweitzer subdivision, or 9150 Huron Street, is the location of the Old Village Pub, which was demolished in 2024. In July of 2024, city staff approved a development permit for the construction of a neighborhood market on the property to replace the demolished building. And the applicant is in the process of pulling a building permit to start work on the market. Lot 1, or 9160 Huron Street, is owned by the city of Thornton and was declared surplus land by City Council on September 12th, 2024. The applicant has been working with the city's real property manager, city development staff, and our legal team to draft a purchase and sale agreement, which will be finalized based on council's decision tonight. The proposal being presented tonight is for the addition of the restaurant onto the rear of the market building, which requires the combination of lots 1 and 4 to meet the landscaping and parking standards outlined in the development code. And following are the site photos. As I mentioned before, 9150 Huron Street is approved for the construction of a market to replace the Old Village Pub. So this is a view looking east toward the construction on site. The Overlook Apartments are in the background, and you can see the adjacent retail building to the north on the left-hand side of the photo. Here we're looking directly north from the car wash lot onto the construction site, showing the existing retail building north of this lot, and you can see part of the city property in the back as well. This was taken from the northwest corner of the property, looking southeast. The car wash and Overlook Apartments are seen in the distance. And now getting onto the city property at 9160 Huron Street. This is looking directly east and northeast onto the vacant land. This view is from the east property line looking directly west toward the retail building and Huron Street. And finally, this is a view of the construction site from that perspective. Here's a future land use map for the surrounding area. The subject site is outlined in red in the center of the map and falls within the community mixed use category, the intent of which is to support the revitalization of established areas of Thornton through infill, redevelopment, and adaptive reuse, and to improve access to services and amenities for surrounding neighborhoods. Primary uses anticipated include supermarkets, restaurants, offices, medical facilities, and assisted living facilities. The proposed use is supported by the comprehensive plan. And now I'll introduce the applicant, Chad Wallace, to talk a little bit more about the project.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council for having us. My name is Chad Wallace, Principal Architect for Root Architecture and Development, a design firm serving the Denver Metro, and I have been sworn in. Okay, we've been working on this for the past 3.5 years. Very excited to be here. Thank you to the Vargas family for allowing me to present on their behalf. This is a view from Huron of the neighborhood market that they are in the process of pulling building permits, and we can see the restaurant in the background. Let's make sure. Okay, similar images of what Aaron shared, perspective of the pub that was there prior to the Vargas family purchasing the land. Again, views from Huron. Okay, the overall vision for the restaurant came about when we discovered that there was the potential to purchase some property from the city of Thornton in the back to allow for additional landscaping and parking that would allow the Vargas family to expand their market idea to include a restaurant. They do have experience with grocery stores and restaurants in the Denver metro area, and we're very interested in adding a hospitality piece with a restaurant connected to their grocery store. So the overall vision for this project is to provide a hospitality piece with a focus on kind of a family-centric restaurant that has indoor and outdoor dining. It is a 2-story restaurant and has a small bar attached to the restaurant and has a very small elevated stage for soft music that would be like a guitar player or maybe a small jazz band that would not be an outdoor music venue nor something that would be very loud. So just to be clear that it's not an event venue or a concert venue. There is eating on the second floor, dining, as well as the Vargas family will have their personal business offices located on site, so they will actually be present most of the day, and in the evenings having an ownership presence at the facility. They have, like I said, experience in the grocery store business as well as restaurants, and they're very excited about bringing an elevated dining opportunity to this part of Thornton. So this location has great views, which is why we really are focusing on having some exterior dining areas both on the first level and the second level. Let's see if this goes. All right, so there was, obviously you have a traffic study that was done and there was minimal impact and definitely no impact to the area on Thornton, on Huron Street. As a landscape architect, I took great pains to make sure that we provided a Colorado-centric landscape that was using resilient plantings, and I would be glad to help that person that presented earlier to find the plants that were drought resistant and great for xeriscape. So all the plants we chose were within the Thornton plant list, but also with my experience to reduce the amount of water that we were using. We are 15% over on our overall parking requirements, met all the ADA parking requirements, and whereas 20% landscape is required, we're close to a quarter of our site being green space and landscaping. So we pride ourselves and are excited about a great streetscape from Huron Street and providing ample landscape for those that are circulating within the property. made sure we had solid pedestrian corridors and connections throughout the site. So on this image, you can see the market to the left-hand side and the restaurant to the right. They share a kitchen, and so the kitchen both serves the deli and the potential for some minimal seating within the market for those that need a quick bite. And then the bathroom facilities also serve both sides. 2 ADA unisex bathrooms are provided with access to both sides. And you can see a small bar on the top of the drawing, and then there's a small on the right-hand corner inside the restaurant where there could be an elevated stage for some soft music. The second level, the restaurant, there's a vaulted ceiling over the lower floor, but on the right-hand side, there's an outdoor terrace, and then a rooftop section that is in the center of the second floor between the restaurant and actually the Vargas's offices space. There are no elevators in this building, but there's the public space on the first floor just duplicated on the second floor. So we pride ourselves with great architectural designs, lots of articulation, wood cladding, masonry cladding, stucco throughout the building, and then lots of transparency and glass. And we really hope that this becomes an iconic, trend-setting location along Huron for all of Thornton to hope to begin to elevate the overall architectural design aesthetic for this part of the city. These are just some images for the look and feel that we've worked with the Vargas family as they begin to define what the inside of both the market and the restaurant will be like. I think as Thornton approaches 40% Latino population, this will serve not only the Latino residents of Thornton and the greater Denver area, but those of us that really enjoy Latino fare and food. These are some renders, additional renders from the different angles of the property, looking at the back towards Huron to the left. And this is a short video of just a fly through of it. All right, let me close by just saying I've worked with the Vargas family for the past 5 years on multiple projects, and this is both an exciting project for us, but we know that Martin and his family are incredibly excited about the potential to do this here in Thornton. I know they're an amazing family. They work together. Their boys are remarkable, and I know they'll be a value add to the city of Thornton and to this is part of the neighborhood off of Huron. So, thank you.
All right. A neighborhood meeting was held on September 19th, 2024, in person at the Anything Library on Huron Street. A virtual attendance option was also offered via Zoom. 12 residents attended the meeting. Discussion was based around the adjacent commercial uses, including the existing liquor store, crime and safety in the area, hours of operation of the restaurant, and accessibility of the building. On April 7th, 2026, the Planning Commission unanimously approved the resolution to recommend approval of the project to City Council with a vote of 7-0. 3 citizens spoke during public comment, and discussion focused on the positive improvements to the area, hours of operation for the restaurant, and anticipated noise levels. Here are the criteria staff used in reviewing the proposed CSP as outlined in Section 18-43 of the 1992 Development Code. The proposed CSP complies with all applicable use, development, and design standards within the code. Additionally, the anticipated uses are allowed by right within the current general commercial zone district. In summary, staff finds that the proposal complies with the criteria contained in Section 18-43 of the City Code pertaining to conceptual site plan reviews. This proposal requires one action by the City Council, and staff recommends approval of the CSP. And that concludes the presentation, but staff and the applicant are available for questions.
Council, are there any questions for staff or the applicant at this time? Councilmember Martinez?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. My question is about the eastern border of the lot, particularly Lot 4, that is adjacent to the Overlook Apartments. So, can you explain a little bit more into detail about what the landscaping buffer is going to look like there, and how the project is going to, delineate clearly between the two properties of the residential use and the restaurant?
Yeah, so I can tell you that the code does require a 15-foot buffer between residential and commercial. So we do have a 15-foot landscape buffer. I'll defer to the applicant to speak on what plants are going to be in that buffer. And then there's also a fence being proposed there as well.
Yeah, so up and apart from the 15-foot landscape buffer, we have heavily landscaping going there, and a solid either wood or masonry fence that's going to go there. We've proposed to allow there to be actually a connection, a pedestrian connection to that residential area. So if somebody's living there, they don't actually have to go all the way around. They could actually come straight to the market or the restaurant. So I'm not sure if that's sufficient.
Yeah, that does answer my question. I really like that idea. Yeah. I think that would be well received. My follow-up question is about the terrace on the second floor. So I think there might be some concern about the second floor terrace and the hours of operation, and maybe the noise from the people dining up there projecting across the landscape barrier. What considerations have been taken into account for that? For example, what are the anticipated hours of operation for that terrace, and is there any other efforts to be taken to mitigate that potential projection of noise?
Well, there definitely will be no amplified music outside to begin with. Second, the landscape that is proposed eventually will be taller. There's multiple trees that will need to be planted, actually quite large, and they will grow up. So there's both distance. I think we're close to 150 feet from the edge of the building to the apartments that are there, as well as, so between the distance, the hours of operation, I don't know if that's been defined yet, but I know it's probably not going past 10 or 11 o'clock at night, because at least on the outside. And so they, as a family that's focused on families, I know that they will not want to be a nuisance in any way to the local area. They want to be an add to that. So then they will also have security on site, so there should not be any issues with rowdiness or people that are difficult to control.
Okay, thank you. Those were my only questions.
Councilmember Byrd.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to say that this concept is beautiful. It's a beautiful building and design that you have in place. I did have one question regarding, you mentioned that there were 88 parking spaces. What is your expected seating capacity for the restaurant once everything is completed?
The seating capacity, that's a very good question. I think our overall seating is less than 100 people in the actual restaurant on both levels, inside and outside. The requirement for the parking requirement was just under 74 spots for both the grocery store and the restaurant. So is that sufficiently answered? Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala.
Yeah, I was wondering, given that juniper trees are highly flammable, if there would be a consideration of not using them on the property just with the risk of fire. Some other cities are looking to not utilize them as much anymore, and I was wondering if that could be a consideration given the history of the area with the fire and everything that would happen down there.
Yes, absolutely. There's deciduous options and evergreen options like holly trees that can be used in, and yeah, being a resident in evergreen, everybody's pretty sensitive to the flammability of our landscapes and our homes. So yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Councilmember Algie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. So I only have one question. There's no elevator, correct? Yes, sir. Why is that? Because there's a double, is it because of capacity or?
It was not a requirement in that there's no specific spaces upstairs that are not duplicated downstairs. An elevator obviously presents cost implications.
Okay.
So I think it's probably more of a cost implication rather than a space implication. They could probably dedicate some additional space in the foyer to having an elevator if that became something that they needed to or wanted to add.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Okay.
Any additional questions for staff or the applicant at this time? All right, I'll open the hearing for public comment. Ms. Long, do we have anyone signed up to speak in favor of or in opposition to the proposed development?
No, Your Honor.
Is there anyone in the audience that wanted to speak but didn't know you needed to sign up? You can come to the podium now. You'll need to state your name and address for the record and whether or not you were sworn in, and if not, we'll get you sworn in before you speak.
My name is Mac Cabral, and I'm the owner of Glacier Car and Dog Wash.
Were you sworn in?
I have, well, no, I haven't. In the beginning, I have
That's
not.
okay. Just ask the clerk. She'll swear you in.
Okay. Do you hereby swear or affirm that your testimony before this council will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Thank you.
You know, when we first started, we bought the lot. It was just a dirt field, and we had to go through, you know, all this sort of stuff, and it was tough, and it did take some time. You know, since we've been there, we'll start our 6th year in December 1st of being open, and the lot there through the years has just been like a nuisance, like behind their restaurant where they're going to put it. That space back there, I don't know if it's going to be developed, if there's going to be apartments on it or not. I'm talking about the east side of that where the hill goes up, and then all that property down there. Seems like they've been working on down there for a while, and it's just the homeless are just, they're building stuff. I had to call the city a couple of times to come and also the police to have them, taken out, and then they have to have somebody go in there and destruct whatever they're building. Just today alone, I shoot off two homeless people. So I think we need to do something there, which is going to be really nice. I think the restaurant's going to be a good thing for that area, and it's going to dress it up. It's going to dress up the appearance of the area. It's also going to dress up the landscaping is going to be really, really nice. we had to do excessive landscaping. And so, we try to keep it looking really nice. But as far as that area right there, I think we need to do something, which I think it's going to be really nice, but it just seems like it's so slow that it's taking, more and more time. And we're just looking at it as like, I know the gentleman started years ago, and it just seems like people are just dragging their feet. I mean, that's just what it seems like to me. And I can't wait till it's done, and I can't wait till it's nice. And that way we don't get so much riffraff, and we don't get the homeless there, and we don't, that kind of hopefully goes away. But, you never know. But I think I'm all for it. I think it's going to be really nice. And I think my area, we keep up really nice. And when he has his area done really nice, I think that the other businesses will start wanting to do some also fixing up themselves. The liquor store, the little strip mall there. And I think it's the trend that, we can, maybe possibly start and make the whole area look better, like Quick Trip across the street. That area turned out to be really nice. So I'm all in favor for it.
Thank you. Was there anyone else that wanted to speak? If you can come to the podium, state your name and address for the record and whether or not you were sworn, and I'll get you next, ma'am.
Dan Gable, 625 Planet Place. I live right down there, 88th and Huron. Swear.
Do you hereby swear or affirm that your testimony before this council will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Thank you.
A couple just observations for the developer. It looked like there was a single driveway going into the facility, and with a grocery store and a restaurant, you're going to have trucks coming in and out, probably a truck and trailer combination. I'm just curious if you got adequate turn radius for those to get them, and or a loading dock, or how that's all going to work.
And I'll keep track of the questions, and we'll follow up after all the public comment.
Ma'am. And then the other item would be on the plans of the building. Either have Huron Street marked on the plan so you know which way is west, and or a north arrow on the plans would be helpful. Those are the only two I had. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, ma'am, you had your hand up.
Hi, I'm Shauna Cabral, and I'm one of the owners of Glacier Car and Dog Wash also.
And were you sworn in?
I was sworn in with the group.
That works.
Okay. All right. So my thoughts on this thing is I think it's really good for our community. We need something in there for the neighborhood to be able to run in and, get a quick, pop or sandwich or whatever. There's nothing in that area that's, good for all them apartments right there and everything. There's a lot of people that are walking around and, and it's kind of, what do they call it when there's not like a major grocery store that's like right within that little community. And I think something easy like that would help the community, like come home, you need some milk, run up there and get, your little quart of milk to get you by for the next day or whatever. And as far as the restaurant, I think it's really nice to upgrade the area. It's going to make it look really nice. Right now, it's just like real dreary and nobody's put any thought to it. It's just kind of looks abandoned. And I think that would do really good for the area. And also, we know that, there's got to be adequate entrance area to get in there because when you have a building, just knowing that when we built our car wash, we had to be able to get a fire truck in there and out. That's required by the city, So I know that, they'll be able to work all of that in there and it'll be really nice for the community. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I didn't see any other hands up. We had a question for the applicant around truck access. Maybe staff or the applicant could answer that question.
Yes, so we are required to provide fire truck access in and around both around the building and within the parking lot. So it's actually an in and out, so we can go in, come in the south side, and kind of go out on the north side. So we do have plenty of access, and all of that is required through the zoning, the city planning standards.
Thank you. All right, council, any further questions before I close the public hearing? Councilmember Martinez?
Yeah, just what is the anticipated timeline from construction to completion if everything goes your way?
So it's designed to be done in 2 phases. The grocery store hopefully starts in the next couple of weeks, our hope is. And then once the grocery store is finished, the idea is to break ground soon after the grocery store is done. So the restaurant will not be built tandem with the grocery store. The grocery store will get done first, and then the restaurant will come soon after. So I don't know if it's within a couple months or 6 months or within a year, but
okay. Will the grocery store open while the restaurant's under construction?
Yes, the grocery store will be built and open and operating while the restaurant will get built. So it's all designed, so there's no demo or anything that happens, and the kitchen's already up and running before the restaurant actually gets open.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, last call for questions from council. All right, I'm going to close the public hearing at 9:26 p.m. And Councilmember Martinez, would you please introduce item 10A?
Yes, I'd like to introduce a resolution approving a conceptual site plan in the Community Retail Zone District for the addition of a restaurant generally located at the southeast corner of Thornton Parkway and Huron Street, Schweitzer Subdivision Block 1, Lots 1 and 4, and I move for its approval.
Second.
Thank you. Approval of the resolution has been moved and seconded. I'll open it for discussion. Councilmember Martinez, you have the option to go first as you made the motion.
Yeah, I'm really excited to go first because I'm super excited about this project. Ever since I first heard about it, this is something that is desperately needed in this neighborhood. I live really close to this area, so to have a market, for quick groceries, it's something that will serve many different people. I don't know if we count technically as a food desert over here, but we are not very close to a grocery store. So to have a neighborhood market there and with the designs presented, this is very exciting. It really could make a very impactful change to the community in a positive way. So, and also it's just, I think if this happens, I might be able to say that Ward 1 has the trendiest, hippest restaurant in Thornton, at least for a while. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. So thank you for all the hard work that you put in. Thank you, staff, for working with them. I know this project has been in the works for years, and hopefully this will pay off. So I'll be supporting it.
Any additional discussion? I just want to say thank you to staff and the applicant for bringing forward such a beautiful, well thought out project. It makes our job really easy up here when that happens, and taking all of the input from the community is really helpful. So I'm excited to support this as well. Would you please pull the council?
Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. And if someone could find Councilmember Salazar and let her know we are ready to move on to the next item. And here she comes. All right, while she makes her way down here, item 10B is a public hearing concerning a resolution approving a conceptual site plan for planning area 5A of the Parterre subdivision, generally located at the southwest corner of E470 and Quebec Street, Parterre subdivision amendment number 1. Public hearing is now open at 9:29 p.m. Colin Wahab, Principal Planner, will present this item. Please make sure you state your name and address and whether or not you were sworn, and if you have not, please respond to the clerk after she gives the oath.
Yes, thank you, and good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of council. My name is Colin Wahab. I am the Principal Planner with the city. Office is located at 9500 Civic Center Drive, and I have been sworn in. Item 10B is a request for consideration of a conceptual site plan, or CSP, for an approximately 72-acre lot within planning area 5A of the Parterre Plan Development, which is generally located southwest of Quebec Street and E470. This application was submitted prior to the adoption of the 2025 Development Code. Therefore, all processes and regulations were evaluated under the 1992 code. During this presentation, staff will provide an overview of the request as well as an analysis of the approval criteria. Additionally, the applicant is here to present some additional details about the proposal. So this slide here outlines the location of the site, which is shown in blue, in the context of the overall Parterre development, which was approved by council in 2021. Planning area 5A is centrally located within the broader Parterre development and is currently vacant. The site does, however, have a history of oil and gas activity, which has left 5 properly plugged and abandoned wells on the site. So an overview of the surrounding planning areas. To the north across E470 is planning area 2A and 2C, which is anticipated to be a single family development as well as a commercial development. This will also be the location of the primary recreation center for the community. To the east across Quebec Street is planning area 5B, which is intended to be a smaller scale commercial development. To the south across East 144th Avenue is planning area 6A, which is anticipated to be a single family detached development, and it is currently under review for a preliminary plan. And finally, to the west is planning area 4B, which is anticipated to be a single family and multifamily development. And again, a lot of the surrounding areas remain undeveloped today, although these approved and planned uses provide some important context when evaluating the CSP. This aerial image provides some additional context regarding the site and the surrounding areas, as well as the 1,500-foot notice buffer, which is shown in light blue. All notice requirements for this public hearing have been satisfied in accordance with the city code, and all notice documentation has been submitted electronically to be entered into the official public record for this hearing. Additionally, Planning Commission held a public hearing on April 7th, 2026, and voted unanimously to recommend approval for this proposed conceptual site plan. And the resolution for this recommendation can be found in attachment 10 of the communication. The Thornton 2020 Comprehensive Plan designates this area as regional mixed use. This designation is intended to support development, commercial development that attracts both Thornton residents as well as the broader region. Typical uses include large format retail and commercial services. High density residential is also encouraged as a supporting use to help activate this area during the day and nights to help create a more vibrant and balanced environment. So here's the CSP proposal. Planning area 5A is identified within the Parterre Plan Development as the commercial and retail focal point of the community. It is also designated as being eligible for a mixed-use development within the overall development plan. The proposed CSP reflects this vision and aligns with the regional mixed-use future land use designation as discussed in the previous slide. In summary, a total of 19 lots designated to accommodate commercial and mixed-use developments are proposed. To be specific, the eastern portion of the site, which is approximately 38 acres, is designated as the regional commercial district, which allows a wide range of commercial uses, including retail services and auto-oriented uses. The western portion, which is approximately 34 acres and is highlighted in blue on this slide, is anticipated to be the mixed-use district, which does have a completely different set of allowed uses. It still allows commercial development, although it specifically restricts auto-oriented uses and allows high-density residential development. The mixed-use district is designated to create a more pedestrian-oriented environment by incorporating shared plazas and gathering spaces, trail connections, and enhanced landscaping. While the detail of this will be established during the development plan review of this project, the CSP does outline the construction of a linear park amenity along the western edge of the sites to serve as a gathering space, as well as a transition between this mixed-use development and the planned residential to the west. So with that overview, I will now pass out the presentation to Shelby Madrid, who is with Kimley Horn and representing the applicant today.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. My name is Shelby Madrid with Kimley Horn, Engineer of Record. Office address is 6200 South Syracuse Way, and I have been sworn in. Okay. Go over a quick project outline, reducing the amount of redundancy that Colin just shared. We'll go over some transportation and traffic, a few project details, summary of our neighborhood meeting, and open it up for, and probably turn it back to Colin and then open up for questions. As Colin noted, southwest corner of E470 and Quebec Street, the site is currently vacant. There is a lot of ongoing construction in the area, however. I want to dive into a little bit of details. This project is for infrastructure only to set up for future success of users for commercial and mixed-use development. What that looks like is it includes internal drives, utilities, stormwater management, a regional trail, and as I mentioned, no buildings, no specific users. We're subdividing this parcel for what we believe will be functional for the future development. Those internal drives, you can see sidewalks along those in pink. That regional trail is along the north in yellow. And those green highlighted sidewalks along that public right-of-way are being completed as projects as part of public improvements adjacent to the project. Transportation and traffic, there's a master traffic study completed in April by the Parterre Master Developer Hines and their project team. Our project planning area 5A or PA 5A was updated to confirm that all of the access points to the adjacent public right-of-way would function appropriately and meet necessary standards. Some access to the public right-of-way will be through various controlled intersections. You can see there on the screen, there will be a signal at Locust and 144th, at our central access, which is our full access and 144th, and at Quebec and 144th. All of the internal access points will be stop controlled or yield controlled at the future Locust Street roundabout. And the right in, right out access points on Quebec and 144th will also be stop controlled and limited restricted movement through either pork chops or center medians, restricting any movement other than right in and right out. We do want to highlight that we understand a lot of these improvements in the public right-of-way do need to occur prior to this project taking place. We anticipate the completion of Quebec Street widening East 44th Avenue, 144th Avenue, I apologize, and Locust Street to be completed 2027 sometime. Exact timing is still unidentified, but they will be completed in conjunction with this project. And it is also understood that that Quebec Street bridge over E470 does need to be widened in order to accommodate the future traffic demands and the widening of Quebec. That is anticipated to be completed by one of two trigger points, and that is, I think that says 16,700 or 16,700 trips per day, or by 2029, whichever comes first. And that is currently being looked at on a broader scale by the master developer. So those stop-controlled intersections that we referenced, those will be stamped asphalt with designated striped crosswalks with adequate lighting for pedestrian accessibility and safety. We want all of these intersections to encourage pedestrian movement while doing so in a safe and healthy interaction with the vehicles that are moving through the site. Those internal drives will be 30-foot wide, 1 lane each direction, no parking along the drives with detached 6-foot sidewalks and landscape tree lawns. Similar to the intersections, lighting will be provided throughout the drives for vehicles and pedestrians, consistent and compliant with the city standards. There is a landscape palette that has been provided as part of it will be provided as part of the development permit that Colin referenced that is forthcoming. And as part of the CSP, it has been provided high level in the CSP, and the development permit forthcoming will further identify those. This CSP will establish consistent landscape theme for the tree lawns, landscape buffers, and adjacent right-of-way landscaping, so that each user, when they come in and develop, there's a consistency across the site, and there's an understanding of what shall be and what the landscaping minimums are and plants to be utilized. We've also identified locations for monument signage and enhanced landscape beds at the entries of the site. And there will be a public plaza identified for a public land dedication for future development up there in green in that north parcel. Colin referenced this, so I'll highlight again. There is public right-of-way and right-of-way landscaping enhancements both along Locust Street and Quebec Street. Those enhancements you can see color-coded up there on the screen include detached sidewalks and linear pedestrian areas for screening from the adjacent right-of-way, transition zones between uses, and creating an overall positive interaction with the environment. I mentioned earlier there will be a regional trail along the northern segment of the site highlighted there in yellow. This will be a 10-foot regional multi-use trail. Lighting will be provided throughout the trail, and this trail has been designed both horizontally and vertically compliant with the city and MUTCD standards. Our neighborhood meeting was held on August 27th, located at the Trail Runs Recreation Center. The meeting was held both hybrid and in person. There was one community member in attendance. Some of the discussions and concerns raised were around the allowance of multifamily residential uses. We discussed potential locations for future multifamily development in this area and walked through allowed under the existing zoning, and concerns around the completion of 104th Avenue from Quebec to Locust Street, obviously in order to serve this site and to manage the anticipated traffic volumes. I will turn it back over to Colin.
Thank you, Shelby. So staff has evaluated this request against the conceptual site plan criteria in 1843 of the 1992 code. Based on this analysis, staff finds that the proposal meets all the applicable criteria. Specifically, the proposed CSP is consistent with both the planned development zoning for the property as well as the regional mixed-use designation and the comprehensive plan. The plan appropriately accommodates a mix of commercial and supporting residential uses, and the site layout and land use organization has been designed to minimize potential conflicts and ensure compatibility with the surrounding development and planned uses. Based on the analysis presented, staff finds that the proposed conceptual site plan complies with this applicable criteria. Therefore, staff and the Planning Commission recommends that City Council approve the resolution for the conceptual site plan. And with that, that completes our presentation. We are available for any questions if you may have any. Thank you.
All right, Council, are there any questions for staff or the applicant at this time? Councilmember Byrd?
Thank you for the presentation. Do we have an idea on what the intended amount of traffic that will be coming through on 144th would look like? Currently, the fastest location to be able to get back and forth is 136, was pretty far down through there. Do we have any anticipation on what that traffic volume will be?
Jeff Plank with Kimley Horn. I helped prepare the traffic study. I was sworn in 6200 South Syracuse Way, Greenwood Village, 80111. The traffic volume, obviously 144th Avenue is not there today, so we had to use model projections plus other known traffic studies, which is the master traffic study for Parterre and our own site-specific traffic study for this development area. And at build out, there's going to be approximately 13,000 vehicles per day in that segment of roadway. For a frame of reference on that, you transition from 1 through lane to 2 through lanes in each direction. There are approximately 15 to 20,000 vehicles per day. And that's why that threshold was up there for the bridge. It's 1 through lane in each direction. And the threshold was 16,700 for that. So it's roughly between 15 and 20,000 vehicles. This segment will be improved to 3 through lanes in each direction. So that is the ultimate cross-section for the area, and that supports up to 55,000 vehicles per day.
Any additional questions? All right, I'm going to go ahead and open the hearing for public comment. As long as we have anyone signed up to speak in favor of or in opposition to the proposed development?
Yes, Your Honor, we have one individual in opposition.
All right, would you please call the first person?
Tony Enrine, 8011 East 148th Drive.
Mr. Unrein, you know the rules for public engagement? I mean, I know it's been a while.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I come before you to offer testimony regarding the conceptual site plan for planning area 5A of the Parterre subdivision, generally located at the southwest corner of E470 and Quebec. To give some perspective to the entire Parterre project, located on 3 of 4 corners of E470 and Quebec, in my estimation, is 10 times the size of the Thornton Shopping Center. Tonight's hearing specifically is the southwest corner. My concern is traffic, automobile, pedestrian, and bicycle. In the packet for tonight's meeting, Parterre has submitted 74 pages of information in the report. There are 3 pages of information about transportation and traffic. The Master Traffic Impact Study was completed in April of 2022, 4 years ago. The best description I can use for the traffic impact study completed on this location in 2022 is ancient history. In the staff communication information provided tonight, specifically attachment 3, the traffic engineering statement on page 97, the results of the study indicate that the intersection and access at the adjacent to the development will operate at a level service D, as in David, or better in the short term, with the exception of the eastbound E470 ramp and Quebec Street intersections, which will operate at a level E, Edward. On a level of service A through F scale, level C, Charlie, is what reasonable motorists should expect. In these level of service results were based, if the level of service results were based on the April of 22 Master Traffic Impact Study, again, this is ancient history. So what is acceptable? Information and commitment. A plan for traffic, a plan that identifies and builds for traffic and traffic demands. Designing, constructing, and completing roadways with specific timelines prior to development construction. A commitment from the City of Thornton and Parterre to stick to the plan, build today for the future, and only renegotiate when forward and positive results are the goal. I understand that Area 5A Parterre subdivision will move forward. In conclusion, I am asking that a Thornton City Council member introduce a motion postponing the approval of the request submitted by Parterre until which time acceptable plan for automobile, pedestrian, and bicycle traffic is included with the conceptual site plan. And I'm asking that the Thornton City Council vote in favor of the motion to postpone.
Thank you.
I will conclude by saying I always remember the original Thornton City slogan, the city of planned progress. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that wanted to speak but didn't know you needed to sign up? You can come to the podium now. Make sure you state your name and address and whether or not you were sworn.
My name is Ann Smith. I live at 8130 Tamarack Court. I just had a question. In the report, did you say there was one person at a meeting? Well, we had a meeting at Trailwinds and there were well over 100.
So that was a different section of the project, correct?
Okay. I wanted to make sure that City Council knows that there were over 100 people. And when I heard that, I just wanted to clarify. That was it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any additional questions from council at this time? I will ask staff to address the concern related to traffic and the time frame of the original study from 2022 and the concern that too much time has passed since that study, to talk about what options there are around additional traffic studies.
Staff is prepared to respond to that question. The applicant also indicated that they would like to respond. Is that acceptable?
Yes, I actually would like to hear from both.
Thank you. Would you like to lead?
Sorry about that. Good evening. Matthew Koenig, civil engineer with the Traffic Engineering Group here at the City of Thornton. Let's see. The best way to discuss this is, yes, there was a long-term traffic impact master traffic study that was conducted quite a few years ago, I guess. However, the normal process through this plan development process has been to draft a new traffic impact study referencing that old study, which included obtaining new traffic counts and performing a new analysis based off the most up-to-date guidance from both the city and the MUTCD and the ITE on how to conduct these sorts of studies. So the study is dated, let's see, January 27th, 2026. That's when the most recent version of the study was finalized. And I believe the counts, I was just looking at them on my laptop, were conducted in 2024. So they're not quite as old as have been indicated. And that's pretty routine with how long these developments take. So based on those counts and that analysis, we feel that this analysis is pretty up to date for what we're looking at. And then as far as the level of service issue. So in the traffic impact statement, it did draw out that the level of service for the E470 ramp intersections was level of service E. That was due to the fact that at the time this impact statement was drafted, it was still in discussion between the city and the master developer for Parterre on the logistics for compiling the report with both E470 and the city on when those improvements would need to be finalized. So that figure that both those tripwires that were given were developed after the traffic impact study was drafted. So both of those things should occur, and it's anticipated that before this development is built, that one or more of those tripwires will be built and the E470 bridge will be built. That's as it was reported to us in traffic engineering most recently, but I'm sure the developer can speak to more detail about that. And then the level service D, and then all other intersections operate at level of service D or better, which is acceptable by the city standards. So if you have any further questions, I'm available.
Thank you. The applicant wants to add to that?
Master traffic study was prepared and completed in 2022. Our firm did not complete that. We utilized that study to make our site-specific study, and that's industry standard. We would be in a business of updating studies constantly if we're, looking at a development area that big and constantly updating it. We provided a site-specific traffic study for our specific area, and as other areas continue to develop, they'll have their own site-specific traffic studies that are current years. And as the agency staff said, we collected new counts for that. As far as the level of service, the westbound ramp was C, the eastbound ramp was E, but this was a conservative analysis, meaning we kept the existing lane configurations with that with a 2030 build out. But as that report stated, if the volumes, which are going to be monitored by the city and E470 exceed 16,700, they're going to widen the bridge. And so it will never get to E or by 2029. And our build out was 2030. And so assuming all that construction occurs prior to the full build out of this project, the ramps operate at level service B and A, both eastbound and westbound, with the ultimate improvements, which by 2029 would be before the build out of the 2030 in this traffic study. As far as a level service D threshold, that's an industry standard, that's a city standard. That's what you want to build for. If you build to a level service C, it's not financially sustainable or feasible for jurisdiction. That's meaning you're going to widen the roadway when it's 10,000 vehicles per day instead of the threshold being 16,000 vehicles per day. You're not going to have the funding for that. You can't depend on development projects to build all of your roadways. And so you would be making improvements with funding that you can't support. The more important reason for that is it creates a condition less safe for multimodal travel, pedestrians, bikes. You're overbuilding roadways and you're creating a condition that's less safe by higher travels of speed. So you always design to level service D. Obviously, you can't design to level service D when there's only 500 vehicles on the road per day, and that would be a level service A condition. But once you're getting to a threshold parameter where you need improvements, you design to a level service D, financially responsible. As far as the master traffic study that we didn't prepare, there were 10 revisions made for that because I saw all 10 of the dates on that master traffic study. So it was thoroughly vetted by the city in the review process for that. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
So I guess a follow-up question. Granted, a study was done in 2026 based on the 2022 outcomes of the original study. Recognizing that tonight is just approving a conceptual site plan, would the applicant be willing to update the study once construction is imminent to actually having a project there in order to make sure that traffic is addressed in the moment, so that, because it could be 5 years before something actually gets built?
And just to clarify, was that question specifically for the broader improvements for the Parterre development, specifically like the bridge, or was it each?
No, it was specifically to this one related to 144, since that's what's tied to the approval of the conceptual.
Certainly, yeah. So that is done at the subdivision plat and civil construction drawings as we continue this review and continue on with the development of the site. Additionally, as each individual pad site comes in with a development plan, there's typically a traffic conformance letter to confirm that it's still in accordance with the master study.
So the anticipated study that was mentioned earlier by staff is not actually anticipated, it is required.
Yes.
Thank you. That helps. All right, any additional questions from council before I close the public hearing? All right, public hearing is now closed at 9:58 p.m. Councilmember Byrd, would you please introduce item 10B?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to present a resolution approving the conceptual site plan for planning area 5A of Parterre subdivision, generally located at the southwest corner of E470 and Quebec Street, Parterre subdivision amendment number 1, and move for its approval.
Second.
Thank you. Approval of the resolution has been moved and seconded. I'll open it for discussion. Councilmember Byrd, you have the option to go first as you made the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I understand that projects like this can raise a lot of concerns. I believe that we need responsible planning that's going to give beneficial take to the whole community. I also understand that the traffic in the area is a very large concern. I know that because I drive it every week myself. So I'd like the idea of having the conditional approval that's in there. But I also know that the city is going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to keep building out specifically in Ward 3. I just want to make sure that we're doing so in a responsible manner, and I'm hoping that we can move forward in that method. Thank you.
Any additional discussion? I'll say thank you for coming out tonight and making sure that we're following the plan related to traffic, because we all know how important it is, especially in that area. I think there are a few projects going on that surround this area that might impact some of the concern, and that we are on top of that currently. So with that, would you please poll the council?
Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 11 is legislative public hearings. There are no legislative public hearings this evening. Item 12 is staff reports. Item 12A is the Police Department Public Safety Report. And I'll turn this over to Chief Jim Baird to present this item.
Thank you, Mayor. It's good to address you all today. I'd like to start off just on behalf of the whole Thornton Police Department team by thanking you, Councilmember Akunto, for the motion today and the resolution and for all the kind words that were spoken about the staff. Very much appreciated. So we are here today to talk about, this is our first quarter public safety update. And we're going to go through a little bit of the numbers, and then per usual with how I've been doing these, I've got a few other things that the department's been working on that we'll talk about as well. You can see from a crime standpoint, our numbers continue to be either dropping or flat in some cases. One thing you'll notice that's different compared to last year's reports is the clearance rates. The clearance rates used to just gather the Part 1 person crimes, and now we're also including the Part 1 property crimes in those numbers as well. But other than that, everything's kind of been steady as she goes. Traffic continues to be a priority in the last 6 different quarters that we've had. This is the second largest as far as number of traffic stops goes. The traffic unit's been fully staffed for the majority of this quarter. We also see the speeding and registration citations that we have here. You also notice a pretty significant increase in DUIs. That's been a focus of Deputy Chief Hawkins and the patrol unit as of late. Those numbers, however, do not count the traffic tickets that have been written by our automated systems. I'll talk about that in a few more slides here. So we have the department weekly briefing. This was kind of the brainchild of Councilmember Salazar and our PIO. They both had asked about implementing this briefing email right about the same time. So just some stats on where we're at right now, 3,194 subscribers, and that was roughly a 50% increase this year with the group that was subscribed to this service. It really hadn't been used in a while, so we're optimistic that that's going to continue to grow. That equates to a total of 44,000 individual emails that have been sent out and 53% open rate. In addition, though, to the emails being sent out, the document does appear every week on our website and is linked in social media as well for those that maybe don't want their inbox filling up. So we do have, I don't know how many members of the public still here, but we do have the QR code here, and I can pause here briefly if there's any questions so far.
Any questions from council?
All right. Okay. Moving along here. So update on the red light mobile speed safety program. So the speed vehicles, this is just a bit of a reminder, those went live on Christmas. That was our cheer that we were spreading in the community. And then the red light cameras, the little typo there, it's not speed cameras. The red light cameras were deployed in mid-January and mid-February at the 2 intersections. We don't have enough information in order to make any kind of an informed recommendation about future deployments or priority intersections just because we haven't had enough data yet. So we're planning on evaluating the information for about 6 months and see if we're able to gather enough relevant information in order for us to make some kind of informed recommendation going forward. One of the challenges that we have here is, and I'll get to this in another slide here, after this one. So this is the total number of citations that we've written so far. Now, March of this year is the first year where all of these tools have been fully implemented, not issuing warnings at all. So you can see here that 7,000 plus total tickets that have been written between these systems. And so this is I'm going to have to explain this one a little bit. So if you look at the columns where the years are highlighted in orange, those are apples to apples. So that's the same amount of time, which in this data, we went a little longer than the quarter, but this is from January 1st through April 9th. That's what that crash data is for. Now you'll see from this that we see a pretty significant drop at the 120th and Colorado intersection. However, it's also the winter months, and this was a unconventional winter, to say the least. So that's one of the reasons that we want to let this ride out a little bit longer before we start doing jumping jacks over those numbers, just to see if it kind of holds throughout the year. And then you'll see at 88th and Washington, we're not seeing a significant impact there at this time. I will say that intersection was also the one that was live first. So it's really been active for almost the entirety of the year. That one started off in mid-January. So we'll continue to monitor those. And then a couple other things. So we have our annual report. Our PIO, Kai Lin, she actually pushed this out on her website a couple hours ago. It'll also go out via social media, and she has some hard copies here in the room as well, if any of you would like those. But it's just a little bit of a recap of what's occurred in the department over the last year. And if you have any feedback after reading it, we hope to take any of that in and help that inform our next year's report as well. So. And Donut. So this is Donut. This is good timing with Mental Health Awareness Month. Councilmember Ayala brought up just the value of the co-responder program and how important it is to, there's so much overlap in what we do as a police agency and making sure that we are addressing people that are experiencing some type of mental health crisis. I don't feel like I have everybody's full attention. So this is Donut, and this is this is Officer Antion as well. So he's frequently left out of the conversation these days, but Donut is still in his training phase, but he has deployed. He's gone out on a couple calls already, and he's doing great. But he came here just to introduce himself to council, and if there's any photo ops wanted, Kai is prepared to do that as well. So,
I think we need a council picture with Donut.
Second that.
Okay, you want to do it now?
Sure.
All right.
I second it.
Well, let's ask questions first.
Yeah, if
Councilmember
there's any
Martinez, you have a couple questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of follow-up questions from the last, first of all, thank you for the presentation. It's always helpful to get those latest numbers, and thanks for bringing in Donut. But I do have a few questions to follow up on the previous meeting that we had about the changes to our flock audit team, where last time we heard the team was going to be increased in size. The number of officers dedicated to reviewing the audit logs would go up to 5. So my first question is about the rollout of that program, if that has been fully operational, if those new officers have been trained, and what the timeline for that is.
I'll have to respond afterwards. I'm not sure if that's occurred yet.
Okay. That is okay. If you don't have the answers to these questions, just follow up in an email, because I have a couple more. And I was kind of surprised to learn from some public data about the number of searches that has happened in Thornton compared to our neighboring city, Westminster. Over 271,000 searches in Thornton. During the same time period, we had about 10,000 searches for Westminster. And my question is about if there are any specific policy differences between Thornton PD and Westminster PD that might account for that gap.
I don't know much about their policy. I can tell you that the Westminster Police Department actually utilizes 3 different LPR systems, 3 different companies, and I'm just not sure how much overlap there is in the record-keeping piece. But
okay, that's actually good to know, because those searches might be more equalized, but just distributed across different vendors.
Yeah.
And going back to our specific policy, does Thornton PD have a policy that around our cameras, or is there one in development that defines normal usage of flock versus misuse, and what are the thresholds of service for an authorized user to be within normal use versus misuse? And I'm not really interested in the specifics of the policy, just wanting to know if we have a policy defined or if it's in flight already.
So let me just see if I clearly understand your question. So we don't have a policy that dictates use versus misuse if you're looking at it solely from number of searches.
Okay.
There's nothing in the policy along those lines.
Okay.
The policy focuses on using it for a law enforcement purpose. So it's purpose driven, not necessarily number driven.
Okay, that's very helpful to know, because these questions are coming from the Ward 1 community. So there's one more about flock, and I appreciate you answering these. I recently learned that Flock has released a new feature dedicated to detecting anomalies in the audit logs. It was rolled out last week, and I'm interested to know if Thornton PD is aware of those new features and if we plan on implementing those new tools into our updated audit plan that we previously discussed.
Yes, actually, we talked about that at the planning session. So that was one of the things that Commander Parker spoke about, that tool was coming and it was imminent. So it sounds like it has rolled out.
Yeah, I heard today that it was released last week. So I just wanted to make sure that, because it seems like it could be a really valuable tool to help us with our new plan. And so will we plan on receiving training from Flock on those new features?
Yeah, they do provide training. Right now, we haven't seen what the training looks like for that audit feature yet, just because it is so new. But that is something that's on Commander Parker's radar, and he's planning on using to forward some of the other audit discussions that we had.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, that's very good news. And I think it would be a great idea once you guys do get that training to, let the community know that that's happening and these new tools are out there, and that our new audit system is, once it becomes fully operational, I think many members of the community will be relieved to see that happen. So once it does happen, I would really appreciate if we could let the community know.
Sounds
I appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate the feedback.
Councilmember Algie?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Great presentation, Chief, as always. First, we'll get serious, then we'll get to the fun part. So first, serious part, we look forward to meeting with you in a couple weeks when you get back from your trip. But I also want to, I mirror Mayor Pro Tem Ayala's remarks that I would like to see Thornton PD have a community meeting concerning flock specific, because I think that will, that way, neighbors will get the input from you. They can interact with you about their concerns about the technology. So I'm looking forward to when that occurs. And on a lighter note, hi again, Donut. Got to, once again, I mentioned earlier in my comments, got to meet him last week, and he licked my hand. He was very gentle and a great asset for us, no doubt. So.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, he's definitely, I've never been asked about any particular officer. I haven't been asked about 50 particular officers as much as I've been asked about one new addition that's got 4 legs. But to answer your other question too, or to address it, we have narrowed down between 2 specific dates in July. I just haven't finalized it yet, so we hope to finalize that soon.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chief.
You bet.
Councilmember Morris?
Hey, Chief, thanks for the update. And I'm glad to hear about the annual report. I was actually asked by a few residents during the campaign who were actually hoping to get a hard copy and see that. And so it's good to know you have hard copies. If they want to go grab one, where can they go?
You can connect them to Kai.
What's that?
You can connect them to Kai Lynn.
Awesome. All right. Great. Thanks so much.
She's right here. Sorry, I didn't see you sitting there.
Any other questions? All right, can we get a picture?
You bet. So we'll have to be patient. This is well past his bedtime, so yes. Oh, was it? Slobber.
Ready?
Oh.
You guys able to follow this? It's a lot of attention.
Thanks, Tomasio. Appreciate you staying up too. I know it's past your bedtime as well. No worries.
Thank you. We got a nice mental health break at 10:15. Appreciate it. All right, item 12B is the Fire Department Public Safety Report. Jason Hollins, Assistant Fire Chief, will present this item. Can you top a dog?
No, I'm done. We should have gone before them tonight. Well, good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. I'm here to present our first quarter quarterly safety report to you. Before I start tonight, though, I do need to mention some changes that have occurred in the fire service for this quarter. So historically, the fire service has used the National Fire, make sure I get this one right, information system, INFIRS, to capture data, which has been in place since the 70s. Effective January 1st of this year, they transitioned the fire service over to the new National Emergency Reporting Information System, NERIS, that all departments were required to change to. So with that came a completely different way that we capture data. The data that we capture, how we capture it is completely different than the way we used to do it. So as part of that, we're still working through this. They're still making adjustments to the data schemas and what data they're requiring us to capture, and different modules are still being added. And I anticipate that's probably going to occur over the next year or two as they get more data in and determine what tweaks they need to make to the system. Because they were still developing this as we basically last year, and then had us all switch to it this year. So one of the things we do have with that is some of the data pieces that we report to you have changed. You may see some significant changes to, and that's just because of the nature of the way that data is collected. And I'll go over a couple examples here as I'm going through the report. All right, so here's our updated call volume, injuries, fires contained. So right off the bat, the first thing you'll notice that the fires contained to room of origin has dropped significantly from previous quarters. And the reason for that is there used to be 9 categories that were considered structure fires for incident types, and they've since switched that to 4. In addition, they've changed how they measure fire spread. They used to do everything from object of origin to room of origin to floor of origin, and had the building of origin beyond that. Now the way they capture it is object of origin, room and contents, or extended into the structure. And there's a couple other categories too. So as a result of that, we know that this is changing, and it's going to take us a little bit of time to gather the data to determine new benchmarks of where we should be. I mean, ideally, our goal in the older data was to stay above 90% on containing the room and content and fire. As we get more data, we'll be able to establish better benchmarks moving forward with this new data. So that's one of the big changes that occurred for us this quarter compared to last, and why some of the data may seem a little different. Again, we've got our calls by districts for the quarter. We were down a little bit this quarter, but that's usually expected going from Q4 to Q1. That's pretty typical to see. Responses by units, I managed to actually remember to put engine 7.8 in there this time, as it's been in service for now a little over a quarter. So this was its first full quarter call volume. However, not running out of station 8 that whole time. But we are going to be continuing to capture that data. For our call response times, so again, we're generally meeting our goal of being 90% or more for the first unit and 545 or less, with the exception of District 8. We anticipate that to drastically improve over the next quarter as engine 7.8, where was that date? Hang on a second here. There it is. So yeah, we ended up putting engine 7.8 in service out of Station 8 effective March 16th. So as I said, as we get another full quarter data with that engine running out of Station 8, we'll be better able to see the impact of that. And as I anticipate that number will jump up into the around 90% like the other districts. With medic units, same thing. Our goal is to have the medic unit on scene within 8 minutes, travel time 90% of the time. For the most part, we're meeting that throughout the city. One of the things we do is continuously analyze our deployment strategy and our response times and monitor those. District 6 actually has the worst percentage, even though it's still pretty high at 89. There's kind of a void of medic units out on the eastern side. So effective earlier this month, we actually moved Medic 7.5 out to Station 6 to provide better coverage out there, as Station 5 has the most redundant coverage in our city for medic units surrounding it. So we're going to continue to watch that change too and see how that affects our times and our response reliability. So a couple other things to just mention from the quarter is as we did have our reaccreditation last month. Mayor Coleman was kind enough to join us on that trip, so thank you for that. So we were reaccredited from the Commission on Fire Accreditation International, which is a process we go through every 5 years. Other thing I always like to remind people on these, the conditions out there are still very dry, so be very careful with the fire risk and fire danger out there. So that'll conclude our first quarter report, and if you have any questions.
Any questions from council? Thank you very much. Very much appreciate it. Right. Item 13 is the consent calendar. Is there any member of council who would like to remove an item from the consent calendar? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Approval of the consent calendar as presented has been moved and seconded. Clerk, please read the appropriate title into the record and poll the council.
An ordinance adopting the second amendment to the 2026 budget, amending Section 1 of Ordinance 3751, making appropriations for the City of Thornton, Colorado for fiscal year 2026 for all funds except that appropriations for certain individual projects shall not lapse at year end, but continue until the project is completed or canceled. Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 14 is action items. Item 14A is an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 38-214. And I'll turn this over to Paul Hawkins, Deputy Police Chief, and Robert Peterson, Police Lieutenant, to present this item.
He almost didn't answer. He goes by Bob.
We're official here.
We will be too tonight. All right. Mayor Pro Tem, council members, good evening. I know everybody's having a long night, so we'll rip through this. We're here to talk about the proposed changes to the fireworks ordinance. I went the wrong way. We're starting out on fire. There we go. All right, purpose tonight, we're going to update council on proposed changes to the fireworks ordinance.
and also update council on the police department's 2026 fireworks enforcement strategy and our best practices. So the issue initially was based on the current ordinance and the language in there. Fireworks enforcement has proven to be very difficult and challenging for the police department. The biggest issue is that it requires officers to identify the specific individual who's actually lighting the fireworks in order to enforce a summons. As you can imagine, that's pretty difficult when you show up and people are partying and there's a couple hundred people there and you're trying to figure out who's actually lighting the fireworks. After last year's 4th of July, during an after action report to the council, the police department was charged with investigating and proposing any new changes to increase the department's enforcement abilities in this arena. Based off the department's investigation and collaboration with the legal team at the city of Thornton, the following slides will go over the recommended changes for the ordinance that we're proposing to help increase our ability to do that. The first proposed change is pretty non-consequential to anybody. It's moving it from Chapter 10 to Chapter 38. That's just moving it to the arena it probably should have always lived in, putting under the municipal ordinance where all the other violations that police officers write into Muni Code should live, as opposed to the building code. The second proposed change is to increase the mandatory minimum fine for the second offense, the time frame from 12 months to 2 years. That broken down just essentially means if we write you a ticket on July 3rd and you wait a year, July 4th, you're in the clear, you're no longer on the hook for the increased fine the next year. So making that a 2-year instead of a 12-month seems to make a little more sense. Finally, this is the big one that we think is really going to kind of help us enforce a little bit more. We're going to be able to, we're proposing that we can cite property owners instead of the individual writing the fireworks. Obviously, we're still going to have probable cause that that homeowner, that it was their property, it was being allowed, and we're going to have to tie them to it. It's just not randomly picking a house on the street. There's still going to be some investigation that needs to be done to prove that that house was involved in the fireworks lighting. That'll close the loophole and make it easier to actually summon somebody. This is just a breakdown of our call volume to give you guys an idea of what we're dealing with every year. Last year, the week of the 4th of July and the following week, we received over 500 fireworks complaints. More than 210 fireworks complaints were received alone on the 4th of July last year. A lot of the complaints are anonymous. People are calling in just saying they're hearing them. They want it to stop. That obviously makes it difficult for us to narrow down which folks are firing the fireworks. Everybody here lives in the city and can hear them and see them and knows how vast the volume can be for the actual fireworks complaints. The new ordinance will also allow for easier follow-up, going out and talking to neighbors and identifying which houses were the nuisance houses and who was actually participating. Breakdown at the bottom is simply how many fireworks citations we've written in the last 5 years. You can see out of all of those complaints, our highest year was 2023 with 20 summonses issued for the year. So out of those complaints, that kind of gives you an idea how difficult it is to get PC on one of these and write them. Everything else is 16, 17 per year. So not many compared to the amount of complaints we're actually getting. Our posture going in and our preventative measures is going to be mobile messaging boards. We'll deploy those the month prior to the 4th of July all through June, stating that fireworks are illegal and fire dangers and all of those things. Public service announcements will be pushed out through the PIO, educating the public about the legality of fireworks. We'll also focus on how to report and how effectively what kind of information they need to have available, whether they need to be available to sign a complaint, and kind of the process of how they can go through and effectively report this so that prosecution will be more successful on the back end. Briefing training will also be conducted with patrol shifts and everybody who's going to be out there enforcing a new fireworks statute. Obviously, if we make changes, we need to make sure that everybody is on the same page and everybody has a unified stance on how we're going to enforce it. So that'll take place as well. And we'll use CLOs, the community liaison officers, to educate the high-density housing communities and also go back and identify problem houses and problem areas from the year before and try to get out there and get some education out so that we can lessen the issues in those areas that have already been identified. The 4th of July enforcement for the day itself and for the 2 weeks prior. We'll post overtime shifts that'll be scheduled 2 weeks prior and 2 weeks past the 4th of July during identified problem days and times. This will consist of firework enforcement cars that will utilize unmarked vehicles to increase effectiveness. 2 fireworks enforcement car overtime shifts will be provided also on the actual 4th of July from 2100 to 02 hours. They'll be responsible for responding to fireworks complaints throughout the city to assist patrol as they're pretty busy that night anyway. And enforcement of illegal fireworks at the actual city event will be enforced by officers that are assigned to that event. That's it. We can open it up for questions.
Any questions from council? I know we asked a lot of them as this was being drafted, so thank you very much.
Sure.
Councilmember Russell, would you please introduce item 14A?
Yes, I'd like to introduce an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 38-214, and I ask for its approval.
Second.
Thank you. Approval of the ordinance on first reading has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Russell, you have the option to go first.
No, just really appreciate all the work that you guys have put into this. Closing that loophole of 1 year was all creative thinking, so really appreciate it. And you've heard the council and met our requests, so hats off. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
Just kind of want to echo the same thing. Thank you for putting work into this. It's an important issue to most of our constituents in Thornton, so thank you.
Yep, and I'll say thank you for the work. Councilmember Algie?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation again. Yeah, this is definitely much needed for our city and especially my neighborhood too, so thank you.
All right, please poll the council.
Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 15 is adjournment, and having no further business, we are adjourned at 10:31 p.m.